From the Raw Boxing TV studios, your host, Ranger. Information may cause headaches to hates or biased casual fans.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
The host that gives you facts with very little feelings. From the city of the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali, the man who floats like a butterfly and stings like a bee.
I'm going to show you how great I am.
Louisville, Kentucky. It's showtime.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want to welcome you once again to Raw Boxing TV. Today, I'm dealing with a bit of issues with the system, so as you can see, the video is very distorted. It's the live streaming software. So if it just keeps messing up, instead of restarting the live stream, I'll probably just put the thumbnail up and leave it there. You guys don't really need to see my face anyway. And I think that'll do a little better if the video keeps getting distorted. If it keeps messing with my psyche a little bit. I've been trying to deal with it for a while now, and it's kind of bothering me. Let's just put it that way. It's bothering me a little bit. In the meantime, welcome. My goodness, welcome once again. Another live stream this week. I told you guys I was going to be extremely busy, and not only at work, but coming out with live streams, man. Trying to make up for the lost time. Trying to make up for the times I didn't upload it. What's up, El Cheeto Box? What's going on, A-Rod? Thank you, man. Thanks for being here. Make sure to hit the thumbs up as you guys come in. Mr. Vitali Pico, what's going on? ¿Qué pasa, mi gente? ¿Cómo estás? What's up, brother? Thank you for being here. I hope all of you have had a great day. Yesterday, we had a pretty decent live stream. Got a poll going on the comment section. Make sure to read through it and make your pick. And in the meantime, if you've already hit the thumbs up, why don't you grab the link to this live stream and drop it in any of your social media platform? Maybe one of your cousins is into boxing. You just never know. We're gonna give it a few minutes here to get caught up with the so the people can start getting the notifications. I'm extremely tired today, and so with that being said, the wifey hooked me up with a double-loaded coffee. Maybe that'll help me get alerted. Maybe that'll help me stay focused, give me a little bit of energy. I don't know, but I'm extremely tired right now. I've been up since 5:50 this morning, and obviously the body starts to let you know after a long day of work you need a shut-eye, but ain't no time for shut-eye. We still got a couple of hours left in the day before I head on over to bed. And I can't go to bed today unless we talk about this subject. The chase is on, ladies and gentlemen. This right here is exactly what I mean when I say that you got to put forth the effort and do the necessary steps in order to get to the top of the mountain. Once I seen this article yesterday, I thought, you know what? Let me read through it. Let me see what's going on really. Let me see what's really going on with this article. Let me see what are the stipulations, what are the reasons he's moving on up. Let me see a few things, but I didn't really have all the time to read the entire article. However, I did got a pretty decent portion of it, enough to make a live stream. And why not? We'll probably go over the article here tonight. And as the title states, not only are we going to talk about the lightweights, we're going to talk about Richard Coleman versus Lomachenko. We're also going to talk about, obviously, Bubu Andrade dropping his belt, moving on up to 168 to become the immediate mandatory to Canelo Alvarez. And we'll see what happens after that. Obviously, on the title, there's also there I wanted to include other topics because here lately, we do jump onto other topics, and why not, right? I think let me share the screen here real quick. I think that it's good for us to add other topics here. Give me a second while I share the screen, guys. And just to warn you guys, today, my son Jamel, what's up, brother? What's up, brother? He's in the room, but that's my son supporting me, even from his bedroom. That's what you call a father and son connection, huh? Let me see here real quick. We're going to be starting pretty soon, guys. Let's just give it a few more minutes so people can start making it in here. Make sure to hit the thumbs up, all that good stuff, all that hateful thing that I hate the fact that YouTube has done that, but I ain't got no power over them. In the meantime, let me try to share the screen here once again. Boom, boom, boom. Let me see. There you go. Boom, boom. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have had an excellent day today. Make sure to hit the thumbs up. Once again, I got to remind you that. Chad Pet is in the building. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? Welcome. Thank you for the constant support to the live stream. There's a poll going on in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to participate and pick your best one. I think personally that let me see here. I personally think that if there was any way around it, just to make boxing a little exciting, I would pick the last option in that poll. But that's just me, though. That's just me. Let's see here. As of now, it's pretty even. Well, I wouldn't say pretty even, but there's a pretty good spread of the vote. The GOAT Mario P in the building. Welcome, sir. Welcome once again to the live stream. Yes, sir. We are tired. We are barely making it, but we are here. We're going to go through these topics. I will catch up with the comments. And then if you guys want, I'll open up the panel. And we can go into other topics. Whatever topic interests you the most, you can give me your opinion on the Lomachenko versus Richard Coleman coming up this weekend. Why not, right? And we'll go from there. Cheeto Box here. Let me see what he has to say real quick before we get going. Yeah, you can just move up and get the shot before the number one guy, Benavidez. He has to knock him out the way if he can. Well, unfortunately, the way it's smelling to me is if he drops the WBO to move up to 168, WBO places him as an immediate mandatory against Canelo. I believe that's the way that the WBO works. And so at that point, it's kind of like, oh, pizza guy's here. Give me a second, guys. And so at that point, yeah, that's what it was. And so at that point, I don't know, whether Canelo will have to drop to defend or whatever the case might be. But we'll see. We'll get into the article. In the meantime, I can understand why these things are happening. Today, we're not going to have no hate. Today, we're going to keep it unbiased. We're going to keep our heads cool. We're going to keep the boxing knowledge activated. We're going to try to put ourselves in everybody's shoes to see where everybody's points of view is. When I say everybody, I mean both fighters. Yeah, I mean, Canelo Alvarez, right? The face of boxing. I mean, he's at the top of the mountain. Everybody wants what he's got. That's not even a secret. It's happened to the best of them. It's happened to everybody that's held a strap. It's happened to everybody that's been undisputed. It's happened to anyone who's unified. So we can't get mad because somebody wants Canelo. We can't get mad because somebody wants a piece of that pie. Hell, if I was a boxer, if I was in his weight division, even if I was a weight division apart from Canelo Alvarez, I can tell you right now, I will be screaming at the top of my lung, making all kinds of social media videos, calling out Canelo as well, because just like Canelo did it once, I also want a piece of the pie. I also want my chair at the top of the mountain. Now, I don't know how everybody else wants to do it, but me, myself, probably I would rather work for it to earn it. And if I'm really being honest, if I'm a boxer and I have not earned it, but the opportunity presents itself, I'm jumping. I'm taking it. I'm taking it, especially if I think I can beat Canelo. Demetrius Andrade seems to think he can beat Canelo. Whether that's a good thing or not, hey, that's completely up to him. He seems to think he can beat Canelo. In fact, he seems to think he can beat just about anybody. You guys have been hearing the way he's been calling everybody out. You know, that one thing I do have to give to Demetrius Andrade. You know, he'll show up to your press conference and cause havoc. I don't know how many of you remember when he pulled up on the Chalo brothers. What is going on here? Yeah, when he pulled up on the Chalo brothers. You see what I'm saying about the video being distorted, guys? We'll see. I remember when he pulled up on the Chalo brothers and he caused havoc, right? He caused havoc. And sometimes when you're being ignored, sometimes when you're calling people out and they're not paying attention to you, then you must do whatever it takes to get whatever it is that you want. It doesn't matter how much criticism you get. It doesn't matter how much your corner tells you don't do it. It doesn't matter how many security guards there is in the press conference room. None of that matters in the fight game. What matters is go out there, cause havoc, and let the camera see you do it, and let the world see you do it. And that's exactly what Boo Boo Andrade has done. Now, y'all know where I stand with Boo Boo Andrade. I've had debates in this channel with his fans. Y'all go back and listen to him. I took him to school. I had to take him to school. I had to. But if we're going to keep the same energy, I also believe that Boo Boo Andrade has all the right in the world to be ambitious in his career. If being ambitious means he has to go after Canelo Alvarez by any way, shape, or form, or any means necessary, then so be it. So be it. Y'all remember when Canelo fought Billy Joe Saunders? This boy went up to Canelo. You're seeing the picture in the top right corner. And he popped the question. I mean, the question that he's been wanting an answer to. When are we going to get together? When are we going to fight? When are we going to make this happen? Canelo Alvarez, having all the right in the world, told him, You're a horrible fighter. You haven't done anything. You want payday. You want a payday. And then I don't want to repeat to you what he said. Hey, you better get the out of here, man. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? Now, a lot of people grew an immense hate against Dimitri Andrade because of that. And my question is, why? We're looking at a fighter doing what he has to do in order to get a piece of that pie. I'm not mad at him for doing that. I'm really not. I can't be mad at him for doing that. Canelo has all the right to say, you know what? This guy's not even in my weight division. He doesn't want to get rid of that belt. So that means he's expecting me to go down to him. Well, I'm bigger than him, not only in record, but in status. That means he has to chase me. I don't have to chase him. So Canelo has all the right in the world to tell him whatever he wants, try to deviate the conversation, you know, put him as a chihuahua behind a fence barking. At the end of the day, Canelo doesn't have to chase Andrade to be great. Canelo's already great. Canelo can retire tomorrow and be a Hall of Famer in the sport of boxing. Canelo has broken records. And so I guess he felt in the middle of his ego, which, like I said, a boxer at that level, when involved in the business of boxing, not in their house, not in their day-to-day living, when involved in the business of boxing, a boxer at that level is going to have a certain ego that's going to help him push him through the criticism, the social pressures, the camera, the lights, the action. And so at that point in time, Canelo must have felt like, who are you, man? The hell out of here. Tyco TV in the building. Gil Lopez, what's going on? Chad Pettis, Shoe Shine in the building. Everybody check the Shoe Shine out, man. They got a show going on every Monday night. Now, as far as the time, I don't know. But if you go subscribe and activate the notification bell, the system will alert you next time they're getting ready to go live. Check them out. Support the channel. That's all you can do. Support the channel. And later on, if you decide the channel's not for you, you're not obligated to stay. But at least give them a try. Back to what I was saying. Canelo in the middle of his greatness, let's put it that way. Let's leave the word ego aside, because I can already imagine how Canelo's retractors, the ones that are emotionally involved or invested into Bubu Andrade, I can already see that by using the word ego, they can grab that, twist it, and make it look worse than he really is. So let's put it, Canelo in the middle of his greatness, he must have looked at Andrade and be like, bruh, first of all, you ain't never even fought Charlo. You never even fought anybody. You have a strap, but you're really not a shot caller in the game. You don't really bring a whole lot of money. Yes, he does, Ranger. Don't you know that Canelo turned down a $7 or $9 million? You think $7 and $9 million is enough money for a Canelo Alvarez? I personally don't think so. It hasn't been really in the past three to 4 years. It hasn't been. Maybe a little less than that. Maybe a little less than that. So Canelo must have looked at this guy and be like, well, first of all, I don't have to chase you. You're going to have to come to me. In the same way, anybody else that's calling me out, and it's not even in the 168-pound division, anybody that's not even a super middleweight, if they want a piece of me, not only do they have to earn it, but they have to come to me. They have to come to this weight division. Philly Drew, I'll be dropping the link in a little bit. Give me a few. Let me decompress. Anybody that wants a piece of me has to come to me. That's been the name of the game in boxing. I get it. Not every boxers do it. I've seen the cases of great boxers that, hey, okay, you want me to go to your country even though that you should be coming to my country because I'm the man and you want what I want? Okay, cool. I'll go to your country. I'll beat you in your country. I'll beat you in your backyard. Oh, you want to meet? Okay, I'll go down and fight with you at a catchweight, or maybe if I can make your weight division, then I'll go down. I've seen it. Very rare, though. Very, very rare. Very rare have we seen that. For the most part, the majority of the time, when a fighter wants the big dog, and he's not even in the weight division of the big dog, first, he has to go into the weight division of the big dog. And if the big dog's not paying any attention, then he has to start taking people aside. He has to. Gil Lopez, thank you so much, my brother, for that super sticker. God bless you, man. Thank you so much. It would make no sense for me as Canelo Alvarez. It will make absolutely no sense for me to find myself in my bedroom one day or even sitting around my business people and be like, okay, I've done all of these things in boxing. I've taken the necessary steps. I have fought. In the case of Canelo, now I'm speaking as if I was Canelo. I came in as a 154 pounder, and I fought two of the number one guys because Austin Trout was number one at once. Canelo faced him, beat him. Then he fought Lara, who was also number one. And although a lot of people, including myself, didn't think that he beat Lara, the fight was close enough that the judges decided to go his route. So he beat Lara in paper and to many people. And then at the age of 23, with very little amateur experience, only 15 fights as an amateur, he went up against a guy who was the best of his era, who was Mayweather Jr. And yeah, Mayweather made it look easy, but again, you're talking about a Mayweather. Not only was he a hell of a fighter, but the guy had hundreds of amateur fights. In other words, the experience levels weren't even in the same room. They weren't even in the same room. Canelo was out in the driveway, and Floyd Mayweather was master bedroom already. So Canelo fought the best of the best at 154. When the opportunity presented itself, he went over to do bigger things. And it didn't matter what steps he took, he was still going to be considered a duck one way or another. Why? Because if he stood at 154 and faced either Charlo or Andrade, then people would say, of course he's going to stay there and beat on those little kids. He'd rather face them than to face Gennady Golovkin, who is the kryptonite of 160. And he fought Gennady Golovkin. A lot of people didn't think he won that first fight. But then he came on the second one and did what he did. Gil Lopez, Raw Boxing, what was your reaction to Canelo's retweet? I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I tell you what, once I'm done in this topic, I'll share the screen on my Twitter page and we'll look for it so that I can see it, and I'll probably react to it live here. Don't tell me what it is, though. Don't tell me what it is. Let me wait till I'm done with this. Let me look for the tweet. I want to open it live here with you guys, and then we'll go from that. How's that now, Mr. Lopez? How's that? Joseph Torres, love your boxing podcast, Raw Boxing TV 100. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for being here. I apologize that today the video quality is a bit distorted, but what's important is what's coming out of that through this microphone. Not so much. I mean, I'm ugly anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So like I was saying, it doesn't matter what Canelo did Canelo was going to be considered a duck one way or another. And let me repeat it again so I can regain my train of thought. If he stayed at 154 and fought his mandatory, people would have said, well, wait a minute. You could have gone on to fight Gennady Golovkin, who's really the boogeyman of the division. Oh, but instead, you stay down there and you fighting these little kids. And so when he went up to fight the boogeyman, the most feared middleweight at the time, the guy that was knocking just about anybody out, the guy that had a hell of a jaw, the guy that had a very underrated boxing skills, he was also considered a duck. Oh, you saw that? He left the 154 because Charlo was his mandatory. He left because Charlo was his mandatory. So he goes on to 160. He fights Gennady Golovkin. He fights him again. He goes on out of there to do bigger and bigger and better things. Andrade, I believe, was his mandatory, and now he finds himself in the same scenario, the exact same scenario. He leaves the 160, goes on to 175, fights Kovalev. In the meantime, he's being called a duck because he didn't fight Andrade. Let me ask you a question. As a professional boxer that's looking for bigger money, that's looking for legacy, that's looking for a record, if you have the opportunity to fight Kovalev, which bring forth the story of you moving up to 160, becoming the man at 160, and from 160 skipping 168 to fight Golovkin's, top five in the division, belt holder. If you beat that guy, what do you think that does for your record? What do you think that does for your purse? What do you think that does for your legacy? I mean, let's be real about it. I know a lot of people here don't really like the guy Canelo Alvarez, but you're talking to me now. I'm the guy that was once considered Canelo hater, and I've said the story plenty of times. I've never hated the kid. I just like putting boxers where they belong. You bring him to me. You want me to talk about them? Well, if I see that they're riding in a cloud higher than the ones they belong in, I'm going to put them back to where they belong. And then, if you are an emotional, invested fan in Canelo, then you can get mad about it. That's perfectly fine. But I have to go to bed that night knowing that I told you the truth. There's no negotiations on that. Zero negotiations on that. I cannot negotiate that. So Boo Andre has been calling the man out for a long time. Obviously, Charlos have been calling him out. Everybody wants a piece of the pie. When a dog is so big and you got other dogs on the other side of the fence barking at you, you're too big to kind of like look at them and even spend time acknowledging them, right? But if those other dogs do what they need to do to grow and jump that fence, and now they in your backyard barking at you, now you got to pay attention. But they have to do the due diligence to get there. You can't just get a free ride. It ain't always going to happen. That's what I was telling all of these fans, especially the ones that were extremely emotionally invested in Charlo, emotionally invested in Boo Andre, that they wanted this to happen. That's it. Happen now. No. It's not like that. Boxing Logics United. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. Hashtag peace and pugilism, champ. Keep grinding. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for the for the contribution. My English is all twisted today. You can tell English is not my first language. You can tell English isn't my first language. Now, let me ask you a question, Boxing Logics United. Are you a content creator, or that's just your name and you just like to be involved in the YTBC? Do you actually do boxing videos? Because if you do, I want to tell people to go check you out and at least give you the opportunity of subscribing to you and looking at your content. Do you do? Just pose yes or no, or however you want to answer that. Or he probably stepped out for a little bit. That's fine. Sometimes we get a phone call and it kicks us out. So, like I was saying, guys, it doesn't matter which way Canelo moved. He was a duck. It doesn't matter if the dogs are barking on the other side of the fence. The dogs really have no meaning until they've done what they need to do to grow and jump the fence and find themselves now in your backyard barking at you. Now you have the time. You have to make the time to invest in these dogs. And if they pose a threat, you either leave or you fight. You either leave or you fight. What's happening here, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll share the let's see, Gil Lopez facts. Thank you so much. I guess he's agreeing. George James, Charlo versus Demetrius Andrade need to fight, or David Benavidez. That what should happen. So that way, the start of the tournament, throw GGG. Oh, I get it. Yeah, I sort of agree, but we're going to go into the article right now. I'm just decompressing. I'll share the article. We'll go through the article as to why this is, why this might happen. It hasn't happened yet, but this might happen. El Chido, you've been speaking a lot of Spanish lately, huh? It happens to me also. Yeah. Hey, it's kind of hard, right? When you're switching back and forward from language. And you know what? I like to say I'm pretty even on both languages, although that I tell people all the time, if I think in English. If I dream in English. But I'm still good in Spanish, really good in Spanish. Boxing Lunch. Oh, thank you so much for the contribution again. Yeah, that's my channel, champ. I'm an OG. Oh, okay. Hold on. OG. Everybody go check him out, man. Subscribe to the brother, as I'm getting ready to do here. Subscribe to the brother. It's not. Let's see. It's not letting me through here, but I'll look for you. If you want to just put any comment on any of my old videos, and I'll do it that way, and I'll subscribe to you. In the meantime, everybody go check him out. Show him some support. Show him some love. Everyone that shows me love, even those that don't show me love, I got to give them love. Do unto others as you will have them do unto you. That is the name of the game. So we don't have to keep adding things here. Let's go ahead and share the article here. Hey, by the way, against Boxing Logic, thank you so much for the contribution, man. Thank you. Let's see here. Let's see what are the circumstances. Demetrius Andrade may vacate his WBO and move to 168 to become Canelo's mandatory. This is an article by Jack Tierman. Demetrius Andrade may soon be vacating his WBO 160 title to move on up to 168 to become mandatory for Canelo's strap. If Andrade moves up to the super middleweight, he can immediately become Canelo Alvarez mandatory with the WBO, putting him in a situation where he would need to defend against him or vacate. And so now we're seeing that, although, in my opinion, I would have loved to see Demetrius potentially fight Benavidez. The winner of that gets Canelo. What this might create is it might put Canelo in a situation where he will have to either vacate the title and therefore not be undisputed, or defend against Demetrius, meaning Demetrius will not even fight somebody like Caleb Plant, somebody like Benavidez. Fights that will make it exciting for boxing to then really and truly think about this from the boxing fan point of view. Forget that you're a fan of any fighter right now. You are solely a boxing fan right now. Track with me for a minute. Track with me for a minute. Okay? I want you to track with me for a minute. As a boxing fan, what do we always say? Oh, we want to see the best versus the best. Facts or not? Drop it. Answer in the comment section. True or false? Let me read these comments while you guys answer. As a boxing fan, we constantly talking about, oh, we want to see the best versus the best. Are boxing fans that gullible to believe Andrade when he says nobody wants to fight him? LOL. That's BS. There's always elite guys willing to fight. I don't buy. Mario, I 100% guarantee that is the case. What you're saying. There's somebody out there willing to make the fight. But remember, the press carries a lot of power. And if the press chooses not to even pay any attention to the guys that are accepting challenges or to the guy posting out a challenge, then the news never makes it to you. And then it's like it never happened, ain't it? That's crazy. So to go back what I was saying, as boxing fans, we always talking about we want best versus the best. Now, from a boxing fan standpoint, iRobot, welcome to the building. I'll get caught up with the comments, guys, in a few minutes. From a boxing fan, not a Canelo fan, not an Andrade fan, not a Benavidez fan, not a nobody fan. From a sports boxing fan, solely boxing fan standpoint, somebody that wants best versus the best, somebody who wants to see excitement in the sport, somebody that wants to see a certain fighter climb to the top by eliminating obstacles out of the way. So when he makes it to the top, can't nobody point the finger at him and say, you got there because you were given the opportunity without doing your due diligence. As that type of boxing fan, I want to see personally Demetrius Andrade step into the division and say, Benavidez, where you at? Benavidez and Andrade go to fight each other. It makes forth a very good fight. And the winner now comes with all that accolade and says, hey, I want Canelo. And what you think the fans are going to say? You think the fans are going to say, well, no, you haven't done what you need to do to earn a shot at Canelo? They wouldn't have no arguments. That would put Canelo in a predicament, or you either fight this guy or you duck. Which one? Why? Because he came into the division, he fought Benavidez, he beat them. And who was Benavidez? Many people consider Benavidez a boogeyman of the division. Not even Canelo. A lot of people think the Benavidez will knock Canelo out. And I'm like, okay, well, if that's what you think, okay, I respect it. But thoughts are not reality. Thoughts then have to deal with reality. And they don't always come to be what you want them to be. I'll just leave it at that. But no, what the article here is saying, let me see. You guys can see it better like this. What the article here is saying is that he either is putting Canelo in a predicament, sort of, paraphrasing here, where he either defends against him or he needs to vacate. If Canelo vacates, then he's no longer undisputed. Let's continue to read. According to Eddie Hearn, Andrade, who is 31-0 with 19 knockouts, may vacate his middleweight title after receiving the bad news. Here it is. After receiving the bad news that the World Boxing Organization has ordered him to defend against the dangerous but little known Yanibek Alim Kanuli. I don't know much about him. I know he's undefeated. I believe he's either Russian or from Kazakhstan. I remember him as an amateur. Hell of a fighter. Pretty decent power. I don't even think he has 15 professional fights yet. But I can tell you this. When you see a fighter coming from Kazakhstan, Be ready, because they're not coming to play. They are not coming to play. And on top of that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this guy is either a southpaw or a switch hitter. Mainly a southpaw, I think. Very educated boxer, although sometimes people accuse of him abandoning what he knows about boxing to exchange. But it can happen. Sometimes it can happen, and that's okay. If he feels like he can handle that, then that's going to be the case. Hearn has been hanging the drum tirelessly, banging the drums tirelessly to encourage the WBC middleweight champion Jamal Charlo, WBO mandatory Jaime Munguia, and Gennady Golovkin to face the 33-year-old Demetrius, but with no luck. Now, what is it about Demetrius Andrade that supposedly nobody wants to face him? Now, because we got to be real here on something. The man is not a bad fighter. And I see a lot of holes in his game, especially against the Canelo. A lot of holes in the same way that I told you guys when Canelo fought Billy Joe Saunders, that I told you Canelo will find his spot. All he's got to do is be patient because the holes are there. But desperation is what's going to cause people to make mistakes that Billy Joe Saunders and fighters like him later on capitalize on to get the victory. And that's what he done. Patience, picking his shots, breaking them little by little. And the rest was history. The same thing he did to Mr. Caleb Plant. And I believe if he fights Demetrius Andrade, he will stop Demetrius Andrade. He will destroy Demetrius Andrade. And that's why I think Canelo is saying, you want payday. That's all you want. You want payday. And if I was Demetrius Andrade, I would want payday too. Who ain't gonna want a couple of million? Who's gonna miss the opportunity of making at least $10 million? Over $5 million, somewhere between 5 and 10. I know you wouldn't. So that's why I don't blame Demetrius Andrade for, causing a lot of havoc. I can't blame the young man for I can't blame him at all, to be honest with you. And so now the article here is saying that, let me do it again. The article here is saying that Hearn doesn't really want Demetrius Andrade to fight this Janibek. And you know why? Because Janibek offers nothing to Demetrius Andrade, although Janibek is a hell of a fighter, whether you like to admit it or not. If he's still the guy I remember from the amateurs, that's a hell of a fighter. If he has found a balance between the pro games and the amateurs to mix technique with aggression at a very responsible level, when knowing when to apply which one of the two, that is a hell of a fighter. And as a promoter, I can see how Eddie might tell him, Demetrius, if you fight this guy, it might not be beneficial now, would it? In fact, the guy might make you look bad. We wouldn't want that now, do we? I can seriously tell you that that's what's going on. It only makes sense, right? And it only makes sense the move that Eddie Hearn is doing here when he's trying to reach out for the other big guys, Jamal Charlo, Jaime Munguia, Gennady Golovkin. But they might look at Andrade in the same way Canelo looked at Andrade. Yeah, you got a belt. But what you done? Who you fought? When you and I fight, are you bringing me the mega dollars? That's the way they might look at him. Now, don't get me wrong. I personally think, and I'm sorry I keep doing that. My sinuses, like I told you guys yesterday, I'm a bit under. I feel like I'm a little bit under the weather. That's funny, that video up there in the top right corner of the article. They might look at it, Boo Boo Andrade, and be like, bruh, first of all, you don't even have, you might be good. But if we're gonna fight, one, I want to make money. Two, and if I happen to lose, I don't want to lose against somebody that's never fought nobody. That's probably what they're looking at. Because I don't care how much you trust yourself. In boxing, nothing is guaranteed. There's such thing as upsets in the sport of boxing. Can we agree to that? Have we not seen in the past 2 to 3 weeks what's been happening in the sport of boxing? Cherry picks gone wrong, mandatories that people thought were going to get washed coming in and actually claiming the throne. But as of now, nobody's replying. Absolutely nobody's replying. And so since nobody's replying, then now as a fighter, as a promoter, you both have to sit and be like, okay, let's weigh our options here, Mr. Demetrius Andrade. Let's weigh our options here because we must. We put a little bit of music so I can stay up. We must weigh our options here. Do we fight this Kazakhstani fighter who might possibly come in and you might beat him, but he might make you look extremely bad because he's also a hell of a good fighter. He's kind of tall. He's a southpaw. He has this amazing amateur pedigree. And we risk your stock, even if you win. If you look bad against a guy like that, your stock just drops. Should we risk that, or should we risk you dropping this belt, moving you up to 168, and have the WBO place you as the immediate mandatory? What would you do? What would you do? I personally would move up if I want a piece of the big pie. I will move up. If I want a piece of the pie, I'm moving on up to the big dog's backyard. I'm going to bark at him. I'm going to get closer to him to see if I get a little bit of reaction from him. I'm going to continue to threat him until he eventually either faces me or abandon his priceless status of undisputed. Current undisputed, because he's already in history as undisputed. So I think if in fact this is to happen, this is a smart move. This is a smart move. But again, I personally would like to see Charlo versus Andre, or Andre versus Benavidez. And from there, give me the big dog. He's got nowhere to run. Absolutely nowhere to run. Let me see if the article has anything, any other piece of information that's, let's see here. Now with the WBO ordering Andre to start negotiating with the 2016 Olympian, Janibek, who is, there's his record, who is 11-0 with 7 KOs. It's a fight that brings nothing but trouble with no real payoff. There it is, guys. Remember what we was talking about? In the same way Canelo looks at Andre is looking at Janibek. Yeah, you're good. I get it. Yes, I believe I can beat you, but I don't want to look like I struggle to beat you, and you are a guy who offers little reward. Andrade is to Canelo what Yannick is to Andrade. That's just a fact. They're not even in the same level, unfortunately. Now, look, I like Andrade. This got nothing to do with the guy's personality, nothing. Again, like I said at the beginning of the live stream, the guy is doing what he needs to do to continue to put his name on the list, to stay relevant. And he cannot be blamed for that. I'm sorry. I don't care how much you love Canelo. I don't care how much you dislike Andrade. From a boxing standpoint, Andrade is doing what he needs to be doing. Running the mouth to stay relevant in front of the press. But then I would like to see him do what needs to be done inside the ring to position himself in a position where there is no way out. Canelo has to fight him. And I believe, I humbly believe that if he comes into 168 and he gets in there with Benavidez and he beats Benavidez at that point in time, everybody, including Canelo, Alvarez, groupies, will be thinking inside their head, damn, that's a good fighter. Some will say, I really don't want Canelo to fight him. I really don't. And inside their head, they're going to make excuses as to why, right? But the real fans will be like, bro, that's a fight I want to see. That's a fight I want to see right now. That's a fight I want to see right now because the kid did what he did. He earned a shot. Benavidez was Canelo's boogeyman in a lot of people's eyes. Then here comes this guy, beats Benavidez, and now he the boogie. Now Canelo either has to face him or be considered a duck. And I'm sorry, as much as I like Canelo, if Andrade goes to 168, fights Benavidez, beats him, and Canelo doesn't fight him, Canelo leaves the division, I'll be the first guy to do a video called Canelo Alvarez Ducks Demetrius Andrade and let the hate begin. Because I'm first and foremost, I'm a boxing fan. I'm a boxing fan. Yeah, I'm a fighters fan too, but my main priority is the identity first. It's the sport. It's a sport. And so I want to see that. Let me see how the poll's looking like, guys. As of now, we got 40 votes. Should Canelo consider Andrade? 40% say yes, 22% say no. 38% in a turn of event says Andrade versus Benavidez, winner gets it. Now 40% is winning in favor of yes, consider him. Go in and fight him. I, as a boxing fan, however, I think the Benavidez versus Andrade needs to happen first. Okay, let me get caught up with the comments. Then I'll go to Twitter. I don't want to forget about that one. I'll go to Twitter to Canelo's tweet, and we'll react to his tweet. I believe who was the one that was telling me? Gil Lopez. Gil Lopez asked me, what was my reaction to Canelo's retweet? Now, Gil, if I cannot find the retweet or if I can't identify the tweet that you're specifically talking about, you might need to help me out with that one. But let me get caught up with some of the comments here so that we can keep this boat rolling. How's that? Let's see here. Chad Perez, boxing. Okay, that's let's see. Same here. I get along better with people. I can do Spanglish. Oh, in reference to what we were talking about earlier. Joe Pilot, welcome to the building once again. Canelo not going back to 168. We'll see. We'll see. Although, you know, you might be right. He might be like, I'm already undisputed. Let me just move on. It can't happen. I mean, I told you guys months ago that if I was Canelo after becoming undisputed, I'd go to 175 and take Beterbiev. Beterbiev, as tough as he is, let me be the first one to tell you, Beterbiev is easy work for Canelo. As tough as he is, Beterbiev is easy work for Canelo. Now, if he lands on Canelo, he might put Canelo to sleep, as tough as Canelo is. But I can see Canelo going in there and destroying the body, putting a hole in that balloon, and eventually popping him. Let's see. Andre made it happen now, because if he's set on going up, then Andre can sell it like a duck. Okay, correct. He didn't have this energy until Canelo said, "I'm moving on up to cruiserweight." True, and I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up, A-Rod, because you never heard of the possibility of abandoning the WBO to move up to 168 until Canelo decides to get out of the division and fight. What was that fighter? Columbele or something like that. I believe the fight's no longer happening. Yeah, I believe that was the name. I'm sorry if I'm chopping the name up. I'm horrible with that name. iRobot, once again, welcome to the building. Demetrius Andrade should fight Charlo first. Yes, sir. Charlo or Benavidez. Those fights need to happen, guys. For the sake of boxing, for the sake of legacy. Those fights need to happen. They just do. George James. True. We do want to see the best versus the best. There you go. iRobot. Demetrius Andrade just want the easy route. He got to fight Charlo first. Good point. OG Sinister, welcome to the building, brother. Salute, Roboxing TV Ranger. Salute. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Hope everything is going well with you. I hope you've had a great day and continue to have a great day for whatever is left out of your day. Chad Perez, become the boogeyman for people to demand the Andrade fight. Charlo, Andrade, and Benavidez haven't accomplished enough to merit a fight with Canelo. Partially agree. They are all clearly chasing payday. Maldito licor. Ay, papa. Maldito licor. You're right. Maldito licor. Welcome to the building. Haven't seen you in a while. If Andrade can't fight a champion at 160, fight Lara or Daniel Jacob at least. Well, the problem with that is, sir, that Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade has already tasted a fight with Lara in the amateurs. Lara put that school on him. And as much as he likes to bark of people calling him out and not calling him out, ducking him, and not wanting to fight him, when Lara was the number one guy and Andrade had the opportunity to take over the division by fighting Lara, what did he say? Nah, he boring. But then he fights somebody who was worse than Lara, less than Lara, less legacy than Lara, less names than Lara. So was it that they were boring or that he was scared of the guy that's already beaten him pretty good? I'll leave that up to you. I'm not even going to get in the middle of that. Oh, he's referring to the other fighter. Chad Pettit, GGG made people want to see it. Correct. There is no sellability reality between all of the fighters. Floyd had a mouthpiece, and that's what made him sellable. They're all boring in those conferences. Correct. Yeah, you know, a lot of fighters nowadays, although I'm not truly into the super cocky, trash-talking fighter, I understand it. I really understand it. But I look at these fighters like Bud Crawford. These fighters don't talk. They don't promote themselves. Errol Spence does an okay job, but I look at Errol Spence and I get sleepy. well, you know, I'm trying to fight. I honestly get super sleepy when I see or hear Earl Spence talk. I don't know if it happens to you guys. I see the man, I see his energy, and my energy just collapses, man. And I know that I know that's probably not a good thing when it comes to promoting yourself. Maldito licor here. Janny Beck, high risk, low reward for Andrade. Correct. That is correct. Boxing Logic on United. Thank you so much once again for the support. Andrade called out Canelo at 154 before payday. Yeah, I believe so. I kind of remember that. I just don't know where Andrade was at the time at 154. And if the opportunity to present GGG was already on the table for Canelo. Because remember, Canelo fought the top guys at 154. He fought, now whether we like it or not, Austin Trout was the number one at 154 at one point. Canelo fought him. Same thing with Lara. Canelo fought him. Same thing with Mayweather. Mayweather doesn't even need ranking. Mayweather's number one anytime he comes back. He fought him. So I'm guessing, I don't know. This is just me speculating. This is no facts, no nothing like that. I'm guessing that Canelo and his team must have said, well, listen, GGG, better quality, better legacy, better paycheck. You've already fought 3 number 1 in this division. You came up short once. What's there to prove? I'm just guessing. I'm honestly just guessing. OG Sinister, Facts Ranger. I'm guessing he's agreeing with me on something. I don't remember what it was, but I'm gonna get caught up with the comments, and then we'll go over to Twitter to see what that mysterious tweet was. Philly Idris, I'll be the first to watch and like it. There you go. Golden Boy. Salute Ranger and Raw Boxing. Thank you so much, man. Golden Boy. Oscar De La Hoya was, believe it or not, my favorite boxer during his era. I was bummed. I was living in Jersey City, New Jersey, when he fought Tito Trinidad. And boy, 1999 was a rough year for me. I did not like that night. Major Keep Boxing in the building. Everybody check him out. I disagree. Canelo should fight Andrade or Charlo. Okay. Like I said, we all have our opinions. You know, if you want to see him straight moving into 168 and going for Canelo, hey, that's your opinion. Must be respected. I personally, for the sake of the sport, want to see these clashes of people eliminating each other, fighting for the piece of bread, and whoever the winner is gets the piece of bread, and the piece of bread being Canelo. But if Canelo doesn't fight them, in 10-year time, Andrade and Charlo will be forgotten. And that is true. Partially their own fault for having the kind of resumes that they have. Javi Avila, what's going on? Welcome to the live stream, man. I think it's very suspicious that as soon as he was mandated, a very difficult guy, I forgot the name, Janibek or whatever his name is. So I think he'd rather lose to a Canelo, and make a lot defending, and make a lot than defending with a chance to lose. High risk, low rewards when it comes to that other guy. Canelo doesn't need to prove anything. Fighting Andrade or Charlo, correct. Let's see here. OG Sinister, salute, Mitch. Okay. We're getting caught up here, guys. Just give me a second. Boxing Logic. He was the WBO champion. Oh, correct. Now, again, I'll go back to the same analogy, but I'll leave that for what it's worth. I'm not here to obligate anybody to think the way I think or nothing like that. You think the way you want to think, and you have your point of view, and I have mine, and that's the beauty, and that's the beauty of freedom. Let's put it that way. Oscar versus Trinidad was my first PPB fight. Man, that was a heartbroken night for me, man. That's just being real. Philly Drew, co-host of the Shoe Shine. Make sure, once again, check out the Shoe Shine Boxing. They got a podcast going on every Monday night. Go over there and subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. On any other videos, activate the notification bell. We're almost up, and we've reached the last comment. OG Sinister. They need Canelo. Canelo doesn't need them. All right. We have successfully gotten caught up with all of the comments. Now let me go take a look at this Twitter deal. Let's see here. Let me look for Canelo. Canelo Alvarez. Oh, Canelo. I put Canelo. Oh my goodness. Canelo. All right. Let me bring the screen up here real quick. And let me look for that tweet. Now, which one of the tweet is the one that you guys are saying? Now, he pinned this one, just like a highlight. Hoy nos convertimos en leyenda. Somos 4 veces campeones mundiales. Today, we became a legend. We are 4-time world champion. I believe this is a text back from November 3, 2019, but he pinned it, so that's going to be like the first thing that pops. Let me see. 11 meses nos bastaron para barrer con la 118. It only took us 11 months con la 168. 11 months to completely sweep 168-pound division, and he puts the little the 4 title emoji here. Okay. Now I want to know which one of the tweets is the one that he that who was the one that told me about the tweet? Was it Gil? Gil, if you're still here, what was that tweet? Just kind of give me a brief description of Mr. Lopez. Give me a brief description of it so I can identify the tweet and react to it. Let's see here. Canelo retweeted this today, actually, December 8th. Here's what legends like Sugar Ray Robinson, Julio Cesar Chavez, and Roberto Duran have to say about Canelo. Okay, let's see. Let's hear it.
So, what is your opinion about Canelo's career?
I've always thought Canelo was going to be special, and he's proving it. I mean,
There's something pretty, something beautiful.
Es el mejor peleador mexicano de la actualidad.
It's the best Mexican boxer at this time, and possibly the best in history.
No, Canelo va a seguir siendo historia para el pueblo mexicano.
Canelo is going to continue to make history for the Mexican story.
Ahora mismo tiene fama y está ganando más plata. Duélale a quien le duela.
Durant, man, Durant has no chill, bro. Roberto Duran has no chill at all, man. Now, if Gil Lopez, if he was to come back, I would like to know which one of the tweets. Oh, I don't follow the WBO? Shame on me. Shame on me. Let me quickly follow him. Let's see. Oh, I believe this is the one that he's talking about. This is why Floyd is so jealous of Canelo and had so salty and bitter. Canelo, at only 31, is already surpassing Floyd's entire career. Where was Floyd at 31? At 31, he was nowhere near Canelo. Nowhere near where Canelo is right now. By the time Canelo is done, Canelo will be far ahead of Floyd. Let me take a look at this picture. I believe this is what y'all are, what Mr. Lopez was referring to. Let me see. Credentials: undisputed championship. Canelo Alvarez 1, Floyd Mayweather 0. Championship in different weight classes. Canelo Alvarez 4, Floyd Mayweather 5. Unified championship in different weight classes. Canelo Alvarez 3, Floyd Mayweather 2. The ring championship in different weight classes. Canelo 3, Floyd Mayweather 3. Belts won 13, 14. Champions faced 12, 13. Former champions faced 7, 9. Championship and former championship faced. Hey, man, I get it. But let's see. Let me read this through real quick. Okay. So let's so this first section up here of the numbers. Okay, great. Very even. Remember what I was going to say earlier? Let's talk about boxing. As a boxing fan first and foremost. Let me break it up here. Now, a lot of you guys may not like what I'm about to say. So let me put a little warning here. I believe it's fair. And that way I'll take a little coffee break. So I got to keep it real with y'all. Okay, we're going to keep it real. We're going to keep it respectful. We're going to keep it within the realms of common sense. If some of you don't agree, I will be dropping the link. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and drop the link now. And if you guys call, I'll take you in, but I will not acknowledge you or talk to you until I'm done looking at this chart, just because I easily lose my train of thought, as I've repeated in several times. Okay, I'll go ahead and share the link now. Give me a second here. And as you all called in, even if you see that I haven't taken you into the live, just hang on with me while I look at the chart here. Okay, as I said, when it comes to the first section of this chart, all the way down to where it says former champions faced, that's a hell of a career for Canelo. Still, at just 31, and with a potential, I can tell you right now, I can see Canelo fighting for another 5 years easily. Easily, Canelo might fight for another 5 years easily. And if he does that, I can guarantee you he's going to go surpass Mayweather, basing it on the first part of this chart. Now, this is where it's going to get salty. Remember the warning video that I just played? Don't tell me I didn't warn y'all. I told you guys I was going to keep the same energy. Got to be objective to a certain level here. So let's get into it. Put a little bit of drama music. That one or this one? Let me see. Me and my dramatic scenes. I tell you what, man. Drew Evo in the building. Hang tight with me for a minute, brother.
Take your time.
I know you come with guns blazing.
Oh, there's going to be a hell of a lot of guns blazing tonight.
All right. So here's where I lean towards Floyd a little bit, is in the champions and former champions phased. Because here's the deal. The same thing we were talking about Deontay Wilder yesterday, remember? Where I said that he has 10 title defenses, just like Muhammad Ali, and he did all of this, and he knocked out so many people. Yeah, he done it, but against what level of competition? And obviously, I'm going to give Ali a lot more credit than Wilder with those 10 title defenses, just because the competition, the levels of competition that Ali faced were way better. I'm talking about way better than the ones Deontay Wilder fought. And this is sort of like the same case here. Now, I know, hang on. I know a lot of y'all going to get salty, but I got to be real. I really have to be real. I got to go to sleep good with a clear conscience tonight. Let's see here. Let's go one by one, okay? Just stay with me. Take deep breaths. Open up your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you can put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. Water into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Be water with me for a minute. Conform to me for a minute. Listen to me for a minute. Okay? Let's compare this. This is now where I'm leaning towards Floyd here. Okay? Okay, so first comparison. Baldemir, former, versus Hernandez. Okay. Endo versus Vargas. Kermit Cintron versus Corrales. Now the competition starts to stiffen up. Mosley versus Castillo. And Mayweather had already beaten Mosley. Mosley put up a good fight, but Mayweather just came on after that difficult round and schooled Mosley. Castillo. Chop Corley. Hell of a fight, too. Now we compare Mosley and Castillo. Well, I'm going to give it to Castillo for the fact that Mosley here, at the time he fought Canelo, Mayweather had already beaten him. Then Castillo again, Trout. Castillo, I give it to Castillo again. Mayweather, obviously here, Mayweather defeats Canelo. Corley. Angulo, Gotti. To me, Gotti, Angulo, same thing, honestly speaking. Brawlers, punching bags, or I shouldn't say punching bags, but you know what I mean, guys. Hell of a warriors. Give me 5 punches so I can give you 2 of my good punches and break you. That's Angulo and Gotti. Except Gotti was a little better than Angulo, or a lot better, I should say. Let's hear Judah, Cotto. Now Cotto at this time had already been beaten by Floyd, even though Cotto was in good status here. Khan, a fight that should have never happened. I don't care how many of y'all, in the same way that the Canelo fought Josecito Lopez, and that fight should have never happened. This fight against Khan should have never, ever happened. Ever. I don't care how you want to design it. That fight should have never happened. Smith, De La Hoya. Now you see the levels of competition. Chavez Jr., the joke, Hatton. And an important note here. This Hatton here was the undefeated Hatton. Not after Pacquiao. This is when Hatton was a killer. A destructive machine. And Floyd Mayweather knocked him out. Made him look silly and then knocked him out. GGG, hell of an opponent. Marquez, good fighter, but never belonged in the ring with Mayweather. That fight should have never, ever happened. Oh, Ranger, but Mayweather was coming off of a 2-year break. You know, Marquez was active. I don't care. Cherry pick. Tune-up fight. I don't care about Marquez's former champion status. I do not care. That fight should have never happened. Ever. Mayweather, Mosley, I already talked about that one. GGG, Field, Ortiz, Cotto, Guerrero, Canelo, Maidana, Pacquiao, Berto. This, ladies and gentlemen, is where I separate myself from the first part of that chart. And I think that although Canelo Alvarez is doing the right thing and has done the right thing to be great and is great, the levels of competition, the levels of opposition have been a bit different. Remember, guys, we talked about this yesterday as well in the live stream. or was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? It might have been the live before yesterday. When Floyd Mayweather was pretty boy, Floyd Mayweather did anything to anyone. And he put a hurting on him. He would put a hurting on him. And so that spam of pretty boy created a lot of credit for Floyd Mayweather that helped him when he became Money May and continue on to push him. Oh man, you know, remember when he fought Corrales? He did his due diligence. He did his due diligence. And so, yeah, the first part of the chart looks good. Let me put it up again. First part looks really good. But this second part here is where this is where I take a pause and I have to bring it to reality. Remember what I told you guys when I first started the live? We got to bring people down. And I'm high on Canelo. I've gained a lot of respect for Canelo. Canelo is nowhere near the fighter he was 5 or 6 years ago. Canelo is great as we speak. Canelo is a current Hall of Famer if he retires tomorrow. But at the end of the day, that second part of the chart is what has me leaning for Floyd Mayweather. In the building, Mr. Drew Evo, who comes with guns loaded. 50 caliber guns loaded and ready to roll. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm a little bit under the weather. I just took my first shot of that vaccine today.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, good luck with it, man.
I hope. But,
talk to me. I know you. I know you. I know you enough to know that you got something to say. Come on.
How's everybody doing so far after what Ranger had just had to say to you guys? You guys happy?
Boxing Logic, you are the real deal. Real talk. Thank you so much, sir. And again, I truly appreciate your contributions tonight, man. Thank you so much.
Guys, okay? Borderline happy, borderline mad.
Post it in the comment. Answer that question, guys.
Ranger, you might want to put that thing back up. Then I might hurt some people might get hurt over this.
I'm really not doing this to hate on Canelo. I mean, I think it's obvious for people right now that I'm not a Canelo hater. I have debated. I have evidence. I have debated Andrade fans in this channel in favor of Canelo. I just like to put things where they belong. That's it. Canelo is great right now. One of my favorite fighters right now. But in this first part of the chart, all the way from undisputed champions to former champions faced, I think although Mayweather is kind of still up there, I think Canelo has the potential of surpassing that pretty quick. I just think that in this second part of the chart, Mayweather takes the crown, man, just because of the level of competition. That's it. Level of competition. In the same way I give Muhammad Ali, Mr. Muhammad Ali, Cassius Marcellus Clay from here, from my hometown, Louisville, Kentucky. In the same way I give him the upper hand to the 10 title defenses in comparison to Deontay Wilder's 10 title defenses, it's because the levels of competition. I'm not taking away from Deontay Wilder in the same way I'm not taking away from Mr. Saúl El Canelo Alvarez. I'm just simply putting things where they belong. Now, Drew, talk to me. What is it that you're going to say?
I see a lot of these comments early on that were funny to me.
Okay.
And I'm going to reply to some of them respectfully.
Yes, we got to keep things respectfully here. Now, real quick, let me welcome Chad. Chad, what is going on, my brother? Welcome. How you doing so far?
What up? How y'all doing, man?
We're doing fine, man. We're getting ready. Get the wax out of your ears because Philly Drew's fitting to speak. Let's see what he's got to say. Go ahead, Philly. Talk to me.
Now, to the one dude that said that Andrade can't have the easy route, he needs to fight Charlo first. Let me rebuttal that comment real quick. He's caught out Charlo so many times. And Eddie and him even say they were willing to go to the PBC to fight Charlo. And tell you the truth, Charlo's bought the idiots guy to making excuses on not to fight people by Leonard Ellaby. Because every time Andrade calls him out, or Benavidez calls Charlo out. He gives you an excuse like, oh, you gotta be fully vaccinated to fight me. Oh, you gotta make this much money to fight me. Oh, you gotta fight somebody to fight me. And let me just say, who has Charlo fought? The best fighter he's fought was Sergey Dovchenko. He's 13-4 right now, Dovchenko. Good fighter. I thought he beat Triple G and everything, but he's a C+ level fighter, Dovchenko. And then now people they gotta fight. Here's the thing: it takes two to tango to make that fight happen. When one wants to fight and the other one doesn't, you can't blame the guy that wants to fight. And number two, you guys are saying he needs to fight Benavidez. If Al Heyman don't want to work with Eddie Hearn to scab his PBC fighters on to fight his matchroom fighters, then how can we make that fight then? How can that fight be made then? And then number three, you guys want to see the best fights. I understand that. But you guys got to stop making excuses for Canelo not to fight these guys. Because if you want to see the best fights, Canelo has to be part of that conversation sometimes. And you guys can't say, well, Canelo shouldn't be fighting this guy. He did it on the fight and everything, But at the end of the day, it takes two to tango. You guys are only seeing it on the one side of the fence. You're not seeing on both sides of the fences. And it's you guys ain't doing the right research. I don't know. But to this resume right here, Floyd and Canelo Canelo's doing the same stuff as Floyd doing now, man.
Yeah. Real quick, Drew. I want to welcome Mr. Boxing Logic United. Everybody go check his content out. Subscribe to his channel. Activate the notification bell and give him a chance to see if you guys enjoy the ride. Thank you so much for the contribution, man, and pleasure to meet you. Welcome.
Peace and pugilism, brother. Nice to meet you. I just found you earlier this week, and I like what you spoke, and it's only my second time to your channel, and I was like, okay, I like him. I like
Appreciate it, man.
Your delivery of it, of course, very diplomatic, but you keep it real. Much
Appreciate
respect.
it. Thank you so much. There might be some times when we're not always going to agree, but I always tell people,
Of course.
I always tell people it's a beautiful thing for all of us to have our own opinions. The problem comes in when we don't respect that, when we lose respect for that. That's when the problem comes in. It's not even the fact that we have difference of opinion. It's the fact that we don't want to respect the fact that we have difference of opinions. And so with that being said, let me turn it back to Drew so he can finish his hang tight with us, man. You don't have to go unless you want to go.
No. I was saying peace to Drew.
Oh, no, definitely.
Thing, champ.
Go ahead, man. Finish Drew, and then we'll go to Chad Perez, and then we'll take Mr. Boxing Logic.
So now, Canelo's just doing the same stuff Floyd's doing. He's picking his fighters now. And if you look at Canelo's early resume of the fights that he fought, a lot of those names were at the end of their careers. Just like Floyd fought guys that are at the end of his career when he became Money Mayweather.
Correct.
And everything. So if you look at it, Canelo cherry-picked early on in his career, and he's continuing his cherry picks now, supposedly, when he fought when he wants to fight the weakest cruiserweight or the champions. I'm going
to rebuttal that. I'll let you finish, but I'll rebuttal that part.
I want to rebuttal back on that fight.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. That's fine. But, so you want me to rebuttal at least that section?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Okay, so the reason, remember yesterday when I was talking about Deontay Wilder, and I said, when I talk about a fighter like Wilder, I always take into considerations the fact that although Canelo came late into the game, Canelo started boxing at the age of 13, became a professional at the age of 15, right? Only had 15 or 14 amateur fights and really learned on the job. So when you look at Canelo, including today, Canelo doesn't even have 100 fights put together. in comparison to some of these guys that come in with 80 amateur bouts plus a professional career, 100 amateur bouts plus a professional career, 150 amateur bouts plus a professional career. So the experience is very limited. Believe it or not, it's very limited. Now, they be tough. They might be smart. They might be good at what they do to the point that even at that level, they can put up good fights. But to say that Canelo, for example, your boy Kovalev has an extensive amateur career, and he might have not been the strongest, but hell, you got a fighter that went from 160 to 175 to fight this guy, and this guy was still a title holder. This guy was still top 3, top 5 in the division. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. In my opinion, when you look at when you make that jump of that big of a jump, it's hard for me to say that at that point you're cherry picking. Now, I could see what you're saying if he was somewhere along the weight divisions where he is comfortable at, 160, 168. But to go from 160 straight to 175 and fight somebody that has been acclimated to the weight division, who's still dominant in the weight division, who's still one of the champions in the weight division, who's still top 3 in the weight division. Sometimes we ask guys to fight top 10, top 5s. And then somehow when Canelo does it, I don't know why it just isn't enough. But go ahead if you want to rebuttal me on that one.
Yeah, on that one, I'm going to be honest with you. Kovalev was 37 years old when he fought Canelo Alvarez. He was exposed. He was actually not even 2 months off the Anthony Yard fight, which he was almost stopped in. And if you look at the champions in that division at that time, it was actually top 5 in that division. It was Adonis Stevenson, Arthur Bertotov, Alexander Grustic, Demetrius Bevere. I believe all those guys knock out Sergey Kovalev inside 6 rounds. Even
probably
Grustic.
Probably.
Grustic was a destroyer until Bertotov destroyed him.
Probably. But somehow he remained as a champion until Canelo got to him.
Yeah,
I just in all and like I said,
two-time champion.
Exactly. And like I said, we have to give credit where credit is due. And I understand sometimes you see
two-time champion.
Somebody got to mute.
We have
it. Okay, it's a Chido. Sometimes we have to put things, we have to put things in a scale and see how to. Now, if Canelo was one of the guys that came in with like 50, 80, 100, 120, 100, 200 amateur fights, and he was still doing this, hey, by all means, dude, go with a hammer and hit him, because at that point I have no argument. But in my opinion, a guy that doesn't even have 80 boxing matches combined, amateur and professional, it's hard for me to do that to him. So go ahead, Drew. Yeah, go ahead. Let me see what Boxing Legend has to say.
Okay, you say he started at 13. That is quite off. Keep in mind, his brothers boxed. His older brothers boxed, and I believe he started at 13 on the Tijuana circuit.
Oh, was that what it was? Okay.
Yes, sir. He started 13 on the Tijuana circuit. So his career, of course, he was the youngest of 7 brothers, or 5, 6 other brothers older than him. That was 3 of those was boxers. So he grew up in a boxing, family already. So all of that exposure adds on to your experience at a young age. And granted, I'm thinking he's starting about 7, to be realistically. But he started on the amateur Tijuana circuit, okay? And then, he turned professional at 15 or 16 or whatever. But you keep in mind, he still remained on the Tijuana circuit. So that's why you got like his first 30, 35 fights or people we'll never know, because that's what's all in Mexico.
Correct. In fact, a lot of fighters are starting their career down in Mexico because of that.
Yes. Devin Haney was one of them.
Yep. H2O is another one.
Keeping it fair across the board. Yeah. So he had plenty of extensive, experience You know what I mean? Even though it wasn't on the quote unquote official amateur circuit of Mexico or America, whatever, but he had extensive experience from adolescent all the way up in boxing. And that goes a long way. My apologies.
No, apologies needed, for real.
No, that's it. That's all I have to say.
No apologies. No, a lot of fighters nowadays. Matter of fact, I was talking to Kid Austin on Instagram the other day. No, not the other day. I'm lying. Probably a month ago or so. And I think he started his career down in Mexico. He's still going down to Mexico. H2O still goes down to Tijuana. But Mr. Boxing, I will tell you this. There's a difference when you're fighting those 30 guys. I'll tell you something. And this made people extremely angry at me when I said it back in, it might have been 2010, maybe 09 when I said this, because I started YouTube in 08, closed that other channel in 13. It was before this channel. So I said this. I said Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. fought 50 cab drivers, right? But those 50 cab drivers help him to get the record that he had, right? Nevertheless, that still makes him a legend because he came in to the U.S. and he destroyed a lot of hell of a top level opposition. He didn't just beat them; he annihilated them.
But that was his hammer. That was his. That helped hone his skills.
Correct.
Before he actually stepped into America to fight those dogs.
Yeah. It helped him.
Served just like his amateur career.
Correct.
Because those was vicious dudes down in that Tijuana circuit.
Yeah. And so, but I still just being a former fighter myself.
Keep in mind, no headgear on that.
Correct. I still see people that start as amateurs from a young age and remain as amateurs up to the age of 17, 18, 19. I see them as much polished, experienced fighters. That's the reason you see a lot of these guys that come in and make their pro debuts with good opposition, and within 10 fights, they probably already in a hot spot because people want to underestimate the amateur career. A lot of fighters come in beast mode because of their amateur careers. And so I always give a lot of credit to the amateur pedigree. Drew, go ahead and finish what you were saying so that we can give it to Chad Pettis and then go to El Chido, unless boxing has anything to say before we go to El Chido.
No, sir. Mr. Drew, go ahead, brother.
Okay. So, like I'm looking at the both resumes and everything. Like, if you look at it, I love Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather. I love when
you want me to put the chart again?
If you can.
Okay. Let me see here real quick.
But like, this is the one thing that I find funny a lot. When Floyd fought Canelo was like 22, 23 at the time when he fought Canelo.
23.
Scored him. So the Canelo fans will be like this, Canelo was like 22, 23 at the time and everything. Floyd was in his prime. No, Floyd was out of his prime by then.
Mm-hmm.
Floyd, Oscar kind of considered Floyd that, Canelo's going to destroy him. They kind of fought him as a cherry pick fight, but it kind of, a cherry pick going won because Floyd kind of scored him.
Mm-hmm.
And everything. Made him a better fighter afterwards and everything. But if you look at a lot of these names, Floyd's era of boxing and the boxers that were in his era are a hell of a lot better in this era. So if you really, that's the era where a lot of fighters fought the best. They didn't make no excuses why they didn't, you got to get vaccinated. Oh, you didn't fight nobody. Oh, you don't make as much money as me and everything. Like, making excuses. And like, you guys really got to be better. When you guys want the best fights, you guys got to hold every fighter accountable, including Canelo. Say, all you want is payday. But here's the thing. You're supposed to lead by example because you're the face of boxing. Be the man say, "Oh, I'll fight anybody." Like the great Bernard Hopkins, never ducked anybody, took the smoke with everybody. The best fighters in his division, even went at Kovalev when Kovalev was a monster, and fought him head on.
And he was what, 40 what?
He was he was 50 when he fought Kovalev.
Yeah, he was 50 years old.
So these guys today need to look at that example. Or Winky Wright.
Yeah, Winky Wright was a beast, man. He was never given credit because he wasn't a knockout artist. He was very defensive, but he was a beast, in my opinion. I mean, that's one of my favorite fighters. Will always be Winky Wright. I mean, those of you that've been following me for over 10 years, y'all already know I'm a sucker for the technician. I don't always need a knockout. I'm a sucker for a technician. When I seen Winky Wright put a clinic versus Trinidad, put a clinic versus, I believe he fought Jaffe too, right? Did he fought Jaffe?
I think he fought Jaffe. I think he easily beat Jaffe, but Jaffe was getting knocked out by everybody.
William Jaffe of DC, where I'm from.
Yeah. He fought. I mean, when I seen Winky Wright, I mean, that guy was just, I mean, his defense was impenetrable. But yeah, Drew, to go back to where you were saying, to make it fair as well, because I want to keep things on a scale here. Can we all agree that one, it's not Canelo's fault that the opposition he's got in front of him today are not as good as the opposition
Facts.
Floyd Mayweather had back in those days. So we're keeping all of that in perspective. But I do felt that it was necessary for me to put this and honestly tell people that, basing it just on the simple fact that the level of opposition of the Floyd face is better than the level of opposition Canelo faced, I'm leaning on Floyd when it comes to this.
Facts.
I agree.
To this.
Fact. And it's, it's no knock on Canelo, like you said. It's really no knock on Canelo. He has no control of that. Right now, it's Canelo's world. It is Canelo's world right now. But it is what it is. And when you put things in proper perspective of the eras and the competition within that era, then you see the real thing. But it's not like you said, it's not a knock on Canelo. It's just putting things in proper perspective. And that's all I want to say.
Yeah. And when you look at, so we've always said styles make fight, right? And that's a very mysterious, somewhat mythical thing to say, because in order to say that, you first have to pick both styles, put them in your head, and imagine a fight, right? But it's not going to translate to reality. When I look at Canelo fight, the way he's fighting now, not the way he was fighting 10 years ago, not the way he was fighting, hell, not even 7 years ago. When I look at Canelo fight now, this Canelo, you take him back to Floyd Mayweather era, and he will still do big things. Because the thing with Canelo now is, if we've noticed, Canelo is no longer the upper body stiff fighter. Now he's an upper body loose fighter. He has a lot of bobbing and weaving. He moves that head in circles. He knows how to trap and make you believe you're at a certain distance by working that cat's tail game with the front with the leg foot. He's not the smartest, but he's a very smart fighter. So the Canelo we have now, although that now, a lot of people
He's a little bit more elusive.
Exactly. Although a lot of people now don't agree with the levels of opposition he's facing, which, in my opinion, to be honest with you, I'm okay. I'm okay with the jump he made when he fought Colin Smith. Colin Smith, we can say whatever and put it in whichever way we want to put it. But when you have a guy that did exactly what I was saying, going through a tournament, winning a tournament, becoming the man of the tournament, becoming the champion, undefeated, so much taller, all of this stuff, he might have not been the destructive killer people want him to be. But can we at least say Colin Smith did what was necessary to position himself there? Because if you step into a tournament and you beat the tournament, you remain undefeated, you remain as a champion, you're going to put yourself in the radar for any big fish to say, I want that belt. I want that fighter. Now, mind you, I'm not saying Colin was like a destructive machine. I'm saying he wasn't no pushover either. Like a lot of people saying, oh, he was just a bum. Well, no, because bum don't go into a tournament and beat it, especially with a lot of decent fighters. He made him not being the machine you wanted him to be, but he wasn't no bum either. Go ahead, Mr. Logic.
No, I wouldn't say he was a bum, but I think he was like a deer in headlights going to the big stage with Canelo. He got
starstruck.
He was really, really too, young and premature, I believe, to get to that stage with Canelo. Just like his brother before him, who Canelo beat.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that move, but him having that, it seemed like it was kind of set up because him having the ring, they giving him the Ring magazine belt before that and all that made it almost, made it almost a fact that Canelo, or before Canelo fought him, that people knew Canelo was going to go after that.
Okay.
So he was a good fighter. He is a good fighter. He's still young, and he still have a tremendous amount of growing to do. And that's why I say I think it was just like maybe premature. And maybe people might say the same thing about old boy who he just fought. But Callum Smith, yeah, I just think it was early. Just like, okay, to be proper respect, it was too early for him. Like, even though Mayweather was 37, about to be out, Canelo was too early for Mayweather.
Facts.
That makes sense.
Of course he does.
It was too early for Mayweather to be fighting. He had a better chance of fighting 40 to 40. If 40 was 40, and is that the best way to put it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But although Canelo was on Floyd's undercards coming into the fights before he fought Floyd, so he was used to the big stage. But to that level of competition, no, Callum wasn't ready for that level of competition, just like Canelo wasn't ready for the level of competition versus Floyd.
Correct. Chad Pettis, I'm sorry, man. I haven't pushed you. It's just, you know how this thing goes. What's going on, brother? Talk to me.
All good, man. It's all good. No, it's a good conversation.
Oh, by the way, I saw your music video. Excellent. Loved it, man. Loved it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, bro. Thank you so much.
Do your work, man.
Yeah, no, as far as the Canelo, Mayweather, man, can you bring that up really quick? There's just a lot of
the chart.
Yeah, there's a lot of asterisks between the two, man. Obviously, if you go down, Vladimir was old. That dude was a bag of bones. Indu, same thing, old.
Who?
Indu.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the same Indu that was fighting. Man, way before Canelo, wasn't he? I want to say that he was way before Canelo. So another Cintron, old. I remember around Cintron, he also fought. Man, he used to be on the Contender. Can't think of his name right now, and popped him with a body shot. I can't think of his name right now. But yeah, along that side, Mosley, old. Man, he was already past it. Trout was his biggest test at that point. And I remember that was a big step up for him. But it was a step up, you know. Trout really hadn't fought much of anybody anyways. The landscape was terrible. That's why you have to go with Floyd on all of this, because even looking at the Baldomir, that's the Baldomir that upset Judah. You know, like that was a big deal when he upset Judah. I remember watching that fight. It was a crazy thing because they were looking at having Judah Mayweather, and you know, Baldomir kind of upset the apple cart on that. I think the only thing, if you go through it, man, is just being undisputed. Floyd was never undisputed. You know, he just, I don't know for what reason, he never.
Floyd was trying to be undisputed at 135.
He was.
Nobody would fight him.
Right.
That's why he had to make the jump. He had to make that jump.
Yeah.
Right. Castillo, and that's what led to the Castillo fight. Mm-hmm. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no.
No, Floyd at 135, 130. Man, that was prime Floyd to me.
That was a beast, man. I mean, Floyd a beast, but I mean that.
It was Matt Floyd.
Yeah, and the thing is, he got the closest to undisputed at 140. Because he fought Baldemir, he beat Baldemir, and he beat Judah, and that was Judah was the undisputed at the time, and he didn't put the IBF on the line versus Baldemir. So he still had the IBF strap. I think that's what happened. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I think he didn't put up the IBF strap. I think it might have been a weight rehydration thing with Baldemir. I'm not too sure to where that one wasn't on the line. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, whatever. I can't remember too far back, but that was on Showtime. I definitely remember that. But going down, I mean, that's the only difference. But then again, Canelo did not clear out 160. That's a big deal. That's a big deal, man. Mm-hmm. And that's why I like, even last year or the year before when I started getting on this stream, like, that was one of the things that upset me the most, is that he went up for belt grab after belt grab. It's like Ricky Fielding. Like,
I gotta cut him off for this.
Go for it.
You want to go real quick?
Oh,
yes.
I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
And why you mentioned the 160 while we there? He was with the Zone. He had 3 of the 4 belts. And who had the remaining belt at 160 and who was on the Zone also?
Andre.
Triple G. Oh, Andre.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't do it.
And he said he had said out of his mouth he wanted to unite all the belts at 160.
Yep, he did.
That's why people give him a lot of problems. That's all the point I wanted to inject there. Go ahead.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's funny because when you look down the resume, he fought Floyd Mayweather, then fought Angulo, beat the mess out of him. Like, I was just like, how they continue in this fight? I remember watching that in the movie theater. Crazy. Just that was just a fight that was crazy around fight week because they had to change the weight of the fight like the day before, and they gave Angulo like a bunch of money because they moved it to 155 because Canelo couldn't make 154. Also, that was around the time Canelo was, there was always that thing that Canelo could not last all 12 rounds, right? All of a sudden that disappeared. I don't know if clenbuterol had to do with it. I'm not too sure. I can only speculate, but all of a sudden he doesn't hurt on the back end of the fight. Like, he's not, if you remember, I don't know if it has to do with the weight or not. I'm not too sure. But then he goes and fights Lara. I thought Lara beat Canelo. So again, he never fights a Lara top fighter, a Lara or Mayweather type fighter again. And I think that's the big deal with Andrade, is that he does not want to get outboxed. He looks like a great boxer versus these plotting fighters, versus these fighters who don't necessarily have a lot of boxing skill. And we saw in the Plant fight, he has not grown a ton from that. Like, he has grown, but not enough to say, man, I could really beat the brakes off of an Andrade, a boxer. You know what I'm saying? He looks great. Upper body movement's great, but he's still plotting, man. He still plots a lot. And I think that's why he never took the chance at being undisputed at 160. Why immediately go to 175? Then all of a sudden you're back to unifying at 168. Why? Because the landscape was way easier. A lot of those guys, again, you said it before, was that the guy who won the Muhammad Ali trophy at 168, like, he just wasn't experienced enough. Go ahead.
Now, I was trying to on your point that Judah and bottom, I can hear myself.
Okay, I muted. Chad, I muted you.
So, like, you were saying that they were both at 140. They were both at 147. Bottomir was never a 140-pound champion. He was a 147-pound champion. And Judah was moved up to welterweight by then. So, they were welterweight fights. So.
Let me answer, before we get going, guys, let me answer some of the comments here, because I'm not trying to ignore the comments, guys. But we're having a pretty decent debate here, obviously respecting each other's opinions. We're just here to share our different points of views. Let me see here. Chicano Prophet, hey, welcome, man. And the link is there if you want to jump in. I know you got a lot of knowledge when it comes to Canelo. And it's a fighter you fight you follow very closely. So if you want, the link is there. Come on in. You know how I keep it in my live stream. No disrespect. We all got to keep it gentleman-like. And let me see here, guys. Chicano Prophet. Andrade got a weekend resume, dude. Okay. I see. Yeah, okay, fine. Where's those big comments that I saw? Okay. Golden Boy. Charlo makes me sick. I hope he's forgotten. I have no love for the 160 division. Hey, let's clear this. Because Charlo, when you say Charlo, you're talking about two different people. Jermel, in my opinion, is a beast. Jermel is a beast. Jamal is the one I'm like, come on, dude. Start working on.
Jermel's great. He wants to be great.
Hold up. Can we be honest and understand that here's an example I share with a lot of people, and people understanding when I say it. Jamal Charlo is in a similar with the PBC is in a similar position that Devin Haney is with the with DAZN that Terrence Crawford was with in Top Rank. Their respective boxing banners dominate particular weight divisions and amongst each other. If you talk about Top Rank, that's 140 and down, they dominate. If you talk about DAZN, they got 160 and up, they dominate. If you talk about PBC, that's 147 and 154, they dominate. So those fighters with those don't have no opponents under their banner to particularly fight because their major opponents are, as they say, across the street or with other, promotional banners.
Okay. Can I rebuttal that for a second?
Go ahead.
Okay. So with that being said, we also have to remember, as much as we've been told that promotional companies are the bosses, they're not.
I get it. 100%.
Yeah. If I'm a fighter and the promotional company and the network that I'm with doesn't have the fighters that I want, I'm going to push because I'm the boss. I'm going to push for the fights that I want. And the promotional company, you're
300% correct. And I'm with you, Raw Boxing Talk TV. But we know.
Hold on, Drew.
Those boxers, more often than not, will listen to the agents and the people of that. And that's the unfortunate thing about
it. And that's the unfortunate part about today's boxers. I don't know if it's the lack of a man presence in their life on certain cases. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's the fear of not having money or the fear. I don't know. I don't know if it's the promoters have gotten so much power that they can strike that psychological barrier in fighters' heads. But at the end of the day, guys, fighters, if you are a fighter looking at me right now, you are your own boss. Your promoters work for you. You don't work for your promoters.
That's been the case, though, since the 60s, bro. Since the beginning.
Somewhat, though. Yeah. I can kind of see it. I can kind of see it. But remember, even as early as the late 90s, in early 2000s, when a fighter wanted something, they got it. And promoters did have their hands on a lot of the decisions. But when a fighter said, I want Drew Evo, nothing else, guess who I was fighting? I was fighting Drew Evo.
That's Go ahead, the Drew. Other side say yes.
Well, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business. Things have to make sense from Go ahead, Drew. And then we got to go back to Chad because he's the one that has spoken the least here. But go ahead, Drew.
I got to rebuttal his last thing when he's talking about, like the zone has 168.
Oh, hold on. Let me answer this question from your co-host. Raw, you like Devin Haney as a technician or a flawed? I've said this in the past, very clear. In the same thing that I was doing with Canelo 6 years ago, where Canelo was being sold as the top of Everest. And I used to tell people, hey, come on down from there. It's too cold up there. It's not the right time yet, right? To me, Devin Haney is a hell of a technician. Nobody can deny that. He still has some defensive holes. But why is his image being stained? Because they're already comparing him to Floyd when him and Floyd got nothing to do with each other, because Floyd was untouchable at that age, and still into his late age, his defense was impeccable. That's not the case with Devin Haney. But I do like Devin Haney as a technician. I believe that he's still a doe in the early stages. You can shape him. You can shape him in whichever way you want to shape him. He's still learning. The problem with Haney is that they've been feeding him cherries as well. And a fighter cannot grow in the way he should, in the way that he could, with the amount of quality that he has. If I just keep teaching you 2 + 2 = 4, that's all you're ever going to learn. But then if I take you 2 + 3, you may not know it, but you'll learn it. And then so on and so on. I believe Haney is a good fighter. I also believe, however, that their choice of opponents are meant to just make money, not legacy. The same thing with Tank Davis. Look at Tank Davis. Cherry pick gone wrong. Cherry pick gone wrong. And that's what we're seeing today. Today, fighters are after the cheddar, not after the legacy. And so, like I said yesterday, if I was a fighter, hell yeah, I want the money. But I also want to leave something behind for my. I don't want my kids to grow up and say, yeah, my father was this, and that. Well, was he ever undisputed? Nope. Who'd he fought? Oh, this, and that. Well, these fighters weren't nobody. Well, that's who he fought. I want my kids to say, yo, my dad was a beast. He fought best of the best. He left a lot of money. Legacy have to be almost hand in hand with the purse, guys. And today we're seeing the other way around. It's the purse first, and then maybe legacy.
You're right. That's how it's going. I was just thinking that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, Drew, go ahead and knock your comment out, guys. I'm not ignoring the comments for the comments for the people in the chat. Just a lot of comments going on. We're having a pretty interesting conversation. I'll get to some comments as the debates go on. Again, the link is there. Any of you want to rebuttal, I can still take, I think, 6 more people into the live stream. So feel free to just try to join in. Feel free to do that. Drew, go ahead and knock yours off so that we can go back to Chad, because, like I said, he's been quiet.
So I was looking at, I was listening to his comment. If you look at the heavyweight division, I look at each network as a promotional company, mainly has that network. Their zone, I put Matchroom and Golden Boy. Top Rank has ESPN. The PBC has Fox and Showtime and everything. If you look at the heavyweight division, there is no Matchroom fighter or Golden Boy fighter that has a heavyweight title. One is the Top Rank, and Usyk is K2 Promotions, which is owned by Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko, by the way. So, so Usyk can go and rotate with which he has, from HBO to ESPN to DAZN and everything, because these independent promoters are able to work with these promoters with networks. And if you look at DAZN, don't have the dominant thing, because a lot of the good top heavyweights, Joe Joyce, Queensberry, for relatives, Stolen, I think, Sports, which is a German promoter, I believe he is. Daniel Dubois, Queensberry, Fury, Top Rank, and Queensberry. AJ, he's the only top guy on, Joseph Parker is signed, probably is Matchroom also, but there's other than that.
And your point is accurate. I was calling the zone that back before AJ lost all his belts, because he had 3 of the 4. So that's why I always had them there. But yeah, you're right on that. You're right in that point for sure.
Chad, back to you, brother.
Yeah, no. I guess going back to the Floyd Mayweather thing, Canelo thing. You can't compare the resumes, really. You can't really pick compare the resumes. I still have Floyd ahead of Canelo. On paper, you can say Canelo because he went undisputed, but I mean, we know what it took to get there and some of those belt grabs. He was managed very carefully, which Floyd was at times in the later part of his career. I feel like he fought fighters who weren't necessarily in their primes, but he still fought them. He still fought them regardless.
I agree with you. I'll repeat this again. I've said this in the past. I'll repeat it again. I believe that. Hold on here. My image is a bit distorted. I believe that after Canelo fought Mayweather, I believe Canelo learned too much from Mayweather. From a business standpoint, from a boxing standpoint, and now we're seeing Canelo following the blueprint, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Facts.
For lack of a better term. Now I have to keep the same energy. I gave Floyd mad credit for the things he was doing. In fact, Floyd is my favorite fighter. Y'all go back. I'm not the kind of guy that deletes video because I don't want people to see my past. All my videos are there. Floyd was my favorite fighter when he was active. And Canelo is one of my favorite fighters today, even though a lot of people have difference of opinion. But I agree. I mean, compared to Floyd, he's still a bit short. But I'll say this. If he retires today, can't nobody deny that he's going to the Hall of Fame, and that's just
yeah. And I think we know where Canelo's going with his career too. What is Floyd, a five weight champion, five weight division champion? Is that what he is right now?
Yeah.
So I think Canelo's going to be right there with him because he's gonna go to cruiserweight. He's gonna get a belt grab. We already know he's going to do a belt grab there. Then he's going to go to bridgerweight. That's what I believe he's going to do. And he'll take that belt in bridgerweight and that's 5, right? Is that 5 or 6 weight division? He was 54, 60, 68, 75. And now the cruiserweight, if he gets a cruiserweight, that's 5. Bridgerweight, that's 6. So he beats Floyd.
I thought that fight was canceled, though. I think he's no longer fighting in cruiserweight. I thought that fight fell through against I can't remember his name.
Makabu.
Yeah, Makabu. That did?
I thought.
Yeah, matter of fact, it kind of did because Don King has booked the mandatory. I forget the guy's name, but he booked it to fight in his Don King's hometown in Ohio. And if that fight was to happen, that would take Makabu out of the Canelo fight.
Okay. So yeah, that fight is off. I mean,
wow.
What's next? I don't know.
Because it's probably because he got freaking a ton of backlash for it.
Oh yeah.
Probably. I honestly think, to be honest with you, I mean, I would like to see a Benavidez Canelo, even though I've said it in the past. I'll keep repeating it. As good as Benavidez look, I'm looking for Canelo to stop him because here's why. I tell people all the time, anything can happen in boxing, right? All it takes is the punch you never see coming. But what I've seen on Benavidez when he looks very impressive is he looks very impressive against very stationary fighters. Very stationary fighters from the legs, very stationary fighters from the waist up, which is something he's not going to have with Canelo. Another thing I've seen with Benavidez is he lacks a very good inside game. Do you think Canelo is going to fight Benavidez from the out? No. He's going to fight him at mid-range so he can still have room to move around. And when he wants to punish him, he's going to take that 10-inch to 12-inch step in and work in the inside, stay inside. He's going to use the upper body movement, bobbing, weaving. He's going to roll. And I believe he's going to destroy Benavidez. However, it makes for an exciting fight for the simple fact Benavidez is very dominant. Benavidez has power. And a lot of people think he's the one to beat Canelo. But
You
go ahead. And then I'll take Drew. And then I'll take Drew.
Okay. One last message, fella, and you guys are freaking to the awesome panel of I see Chad up there, of course, Raw Boxing Talk, and Mr. Drew. My last comment, and I'm out of here.
You look sleepy, man. Yeah.
Keep in mind, what people going back to the Andrade thing. What does Andrade have in common with, of course, Lara and Trout, as you was talking about it?
The movement.
The movement.
The legs.
He's southpaw.
And southpaw, exactly.
Oh, southpaw, yeah.
Yeah, both three of them southpaws.
A much longer southpaw than they are. They have a very, very hard jab. And I think Canelo, they knew that, like, okay, I can go against a southpaw, but his height at 6'1", with that jab, you know what I mean? Maybe, I do believe Canelo was talking to crap. I think eventually they will fight, believe it or not. But I believe that's the reason why Canelo avoided him at 154, 160, 168. He's long, and he was very elusive, too, with a long, hard jab in our right hand. So, but as we say, I think Canelo is definitely a Hall of Fame. He's dope. You can't blame him for the competition right now. The boxing goes through ups and downs and competitions. America, we got basketball, football, and everything sucking up for the real athletes. It just is what it is.
Correct.
Canelo's world right now. And
yeah.
But it's also Raw Boxing TV's world, man. You got an awesome channel, brother. Keep building, keep grinding. Peace
Appreciate
to you,
man.
Peace to Chad. Peace and pugilism to all. One love. I see you later. Myron Magnus, Boxing Logics United.
Thank you,
brother.
Joining,
everybody
man.
Go check him out, man.
All right, champs.
Have a good one.
All right.
But yeah, man. I think we've covered just about enough on Canelo, and we still have the lightweights to talk about. And I think it's saved. You still got more.
I gotta look on the list because we've been talking so much and everything, and like he brings up a good point that they're all three of them are southpaws, and then it made me think about the last southpaw that he fought was Billy Joe Sanders, and my thing about Billy Joe, what he failed to do, that he was mostly about, was a fighter that moves a lot. He didn't really move that much in the Canelo fight. He stood in front of Canelo most of the whole fight and let Canelo dictate the movement. Well, Caleb Plant had a way better game plan than Billy Joe because he made that move. He used his footwork, his movement, and that jab, and it did cause problems to Canelo for a while.
Yeah, but you're ignoring something. And if you go back to our conversations before the fights, you could clearly hear me telling you guys, and I believe I believe this was a D Styles, where I said, when Canelo fights this type of fighters, he's not coming for the head. He's not coming to just look good from the beginning. He's coming straight for the body and to kill him in the later rounds. And that's what he did. One of the reasons Billy Joe Saunders was not able to move wasn't because he chose not to. It's because he noticed even when he moved and Canelo was kind of able to cut the ring, Canelo was still timing him on the back pedal. And for some reason, he felt like, let me initiate some combinations and land. And guess what? He was being successful. But you know why he was being successful? Because all Canelo needed was one punch at a time. One punch at a time until the damage was accumulated. And then you saw how the timing, Canelo started finding the timing, started guessing the movement, started landing those uppercuts until the damage was done. Same thing with Plant. Canelo didn't come in to look good from the beginning. Yeah, I'm going to apply pressure. That's my game. I'm going to have some feints, upper body movement. That's my game. But notice how Canelo break these fighters down. His body, his relentless, tough hooks, and he chops them down. So, yeah, the movement's there, but remember something. At this point, I think Canelo knows some of these guys are not going to hurt him. And I think that he has strategically mounted that game plan. You're going to look good for 5, 6, 7 rounds, But in the middle of looking good, I'm going to be breaking you down. And then he's going to come with that one round where he's not going to allow you to survive. He's done it. He's going to continue to do it. In the case of Charlo, being southpaw, being taller, being stronger, having a longer jab, I just want to go based on Charlo's fights with the level of opposition he has fought. He hasn't looked tremendously good. And when you compare those oppositions versus a Canelo Alvarez today, nothing gives me hope that Charlo will win. Now, again, keeping in mind that this is boxing, keeping in mind that anything can happen in boxing, I think that once Charlo has Canelo in front of him, you're not going to see the same Charlo. You're just not going to see the same Charlo. Will we see the same Canelo? Yeah. He's been there. He's been there. He's fought tall guys. You know what he did to tall guys? He came in, stayed in, and worked the body. You know what he did to tall guys? He broke their elbows, broke their biceps. You know what he did to tall guy? He stayed away from playing into the game. What is it? The distant game. You know what he did to tall guys? He went to work at the body and slowly but surely broke them. And so when I see how Charlo has looked against the level of opposition he's had, and I take those levels of those fighters and I compare them to a Canelo, they're so far off. And I question myself, if they had the little of success that they had against Charlo, what will a Canelo do? Canelo might just walk through them. Chat, I don't know what you think.
I look at it like this. When I looked at Billy
Hold on,
Jones,
let's give it a chat real quick, and then you go in, because chat hasn't. Chat, I feel bad for chat.
It's all good. I love listening. I love listening and hearing thoughts because it creates other thoughts for me. But no, I mean, I think Canelo is in a good spot for the style that he fights. Plain and simple. You were talking about he's hitting you in between the body, and it just throws like a guy like Caleb Plant off. You know, it slows him down. But we saw in that fight that Caleb, he had some speed on Canelo at times, and it bothered him. And that's why I think like a fight like Benavidez would be a better fight than maybe an Andrade for Canelo. You know, I do think that Benavidez has some faster hands, but again, he does lean on those ropes a lot, which is going to get him in trouble and probably get him knocked out. So, yeah, no, I see. Oh boy, shaking his head. So go ahead, Drew.
Now I was really. Here's the thing. I said this like Raw Boxing said. Benavidez is the easiest fight for Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
I think the most difficult fight is Andrade. I think Andrade is probably the one that beats Canelo if you look at it.
Yeah. I wasn't saying that the fight would be that it would pose more of a threat. I was saying that it would be better, favor Canelo more to fight a Benavidez versus an Andrade.
And I don't think Andrade beats Canelo. You know why?
Because you think he's gonna make the same mistake as Billy Joe Sanders.
That's one thing, but there's another. Look at Andrade's fight. What is he open to the most?
An uppercut.
Okay, and what else? I was going there, and what else? The overhand right. He's a sucker for the overhand right, and all it takes is a guy with good technique, good timing to see it. And the time, look at, I go back to Truax fight, not Truax fight. That was
Martirosyan.
Yeah, Martirosyan.
He popped him. I remember. Floored him.
I mean, and he has never made adjustments to take care of the fact that from time to time during the fight, during the round, not the whole fight, which is worse. From time to time during the rounds, he's open for it, but he doesn't have the correct opponent in front of him to take advantage of it.
Yep, he hasn't been fighting great fighters, in my opinion. Not fighters to challenge him. Honestly,
and that's what I'm saying, guys. And that's what I'm saying. Yes, these fighters are good. Yes, these fighters have looked good against their opponents. But let's compare the opponents to Canelo today. I'm not saying Canelo is the greatest thing that has ever existed. I'm just saying today, man, it's going to take a lot more than just being a technician to beat Canelo. I've said it in the past. I'll repeat it again. It's going to take somebody with a lot of power in their hands to land on Canelo, have Canelo respect the power, and by respecting the power, bringing Canelo to a stop psychologically, and instead of having a Canelo in front of you that freely works how he wants to because he knows you can't hurt him, now you're going to have a Canelo that's going to like, okay, so how do I penetrate this guy? Because every time he's touching me with that jab, it's bothering me. Every time he's catching me with 1-2, it's hurting me, right? So to me, my opponent is going to take, in my opinion, it's going to take a lot more than just being a skillful fighter to beat Canelo. It's going to take skills, and it's going to take some ruggedness and power. I honestly believe that right now that's what it takes to get Canelo. But let me get caught up with the comments before we keep going.
I was going to reply to a comment.
Golden Boy, yeah. Hold on. Golden Boy, big fish Jamar Charlo will be forgotten. Golden Boy hates Charlo. OG Sinister, look at Mortal. Beat Tali Pico, welcome once again. Spot on, Ranger. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Rene Box Young, salute, Raw Boxing, salute. What's up, brother? Thank you. Welcome to the panel. Salute panel. Let's see, salute chat. Rene Box Young. Canelo will not caught in the 8 punch combo of Benavidez. Here it is. This is what I tell people right here. I'm all into this comment right here. Canelo will not get caught into that 8 punch combinations versus Benavidez. Canelo too smart and too fast. And when you look at, matter of fact, as we speak, let me see if I can go into my, no, I don't want to get a copy strike. Because I was actually looking at a video today. I believe it's called Benavidez Best Highlights. And I'm looking at the kid destroying opponents. And I'm like, wow, the guy's literally in front of him with enough real estate behind them to move. And they don't. They stay. They stay there to get hit to 8 punches back to back. They stay there without offering not only movement, but 0 upper body movement as well. And they continue to get pummeled. And I'm like, that's not Canelo. Canelo is not going to stand there. And if he stands there, Canelo is not going to have a stiff upper body movement. And not only is he not going to have an upper body movement, he's going to move and he's going to look for openings to counter. And that's why I think Benavidez, as tough as he looks, Benavidez, in my opinion, is easy work. Easy work.
They're not tested. Alvarez. They're not tested, man.
Correct.
They don't test their fighters, man. It sucks.
No, it is one.
Not at this point. Canelo drops Charlo and Boo Boo. I agree. Again, I'm not making Canelo an unstoppable machine. I'm simply saying that the opponents that people claim Canelo is ducking, they have not been tested themselves, because all I'm doing is comparing them. Look, let's put it real simple. Let me break it to you very simple. As much as we want to say Canelo has done this, they've managed him. Correct. Great. Let's say I agree. Can have any other Charlos, has Andrade, has Benavidez fought a Mayweather?
No.
Nope.
No, nowhere near. Have they fought a Lara?
No.
Nope.
No. Have they fought at the time an Austin Trout?
No.
No. Have they fought a Gennady Golovkin?
No.
Nowhere near. Have they fought as weak as he was? Have they fought a Kovalev?
No.
In fact, the closest thing they've ever fought, and not even, because I'm thinking of Colin Smith, and I'm still placing Colin Smith way above any of the opponents these fighters have faced.
100%. He cleared out a division pretty much with the that tournament. With the Muhammad Ali tournament.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. I'm not making Canelo to be the Terminator. But right now, there's nobody, in my opinion, touching Canelo. As good as they look in their weight division, as good as they've looked against their opponents, I can't see it. Keeping in mind that this is boxing and anything can happen. Keeping in mind that my views are not translated necessarily into reality. I just don't see it right now, in my opinion.
This is a comment I wanted to address.
Which one? So I can highlight
Why don't Andre and Gigi fight each other? Well, here's the thing. You would figure it would be easy to make this fight because they're both with Matchroom, right? But if you look at it, Triple G was trying to cherry pick and fight Rorota because, hey, it's a big money fight in Japan because Rorota's big in Japan and everything, and they think and Rorota's real beatable because he's been inactive just like Triple G. But now since that fight fell apart because they're not accepting foreigners to come to Japan and everything. Yeah. Now Triple G has a big decision to make. He's been over almost a year and a half inactive. He hasn't defended that WBA belt. The WBA is getting ready to say, you fight somebody or we're stripping you of it. Now, you will think the next best move for Eddie Hearn is to let's make a fight with Andre, a unification belt. But you want to know why they're not going to make that fight? Because Triple G requires a lot of money because of his so-called guaranteed contract. And so far, other than Canelo, he's fought Dovchenko and I don't know the other guy's name, but because nobody knows the other guy's name, he's not.
Yeah,
he's
trash.
Yeah, trash.
Yeah,
and everything. So,
and I got to be real with you guys before anybody goes there. I don't want to see a third fight with Canelo.
Me neither.
Nope.
I don't want to see I don't want to see a GG Canelo 3. I just don't. I just don't. Boxing needs to do better. I just don't.
I think the zone's in a weird position right now when it comes to the people that they put money behind. You got Andre who can't get a fight with top level opposition, and you got Triple G who's old. They put a lot of money into him, and he showed lack of who he once was. You know, the killer. He showed it in his last fight, and I think the plan right now is just to feed him to Munguia. I really think that's the plan. The eventual plan is Triple G is going to fight Munguia, get a big following behind that fight, and try to cash out.
Let me tell you something. That's going to be a cherry pick gone wrong.
Yep, it is.
That's going to be a cherry pick gone wrong, bro. But let me get this comment right here from Sliding Count. Welcome to the building, man. I hadn't had the chance to welcome you. Benavidez is strong. Throws great combinations, but Canelo shifts ducks and slides when countering, and David stands too straight up. I see Canelo winning a UD. I only disagree with you in the last two letters.
Yeah, I think it's a TKO.
I will switch the last two letters for a K and an O.
Yep, body shot.
I say TKO.
Yeah, I honest guys. Again, I don't want to place myself above nobody here. D-Style, G-Funky, and I. There might be more out there. I can only speak from the people from what I know. D-Style, G-Funky, and I are probably some of the most balanced people when it comes to Canelo. We've been considered Canelo haters. We've been hated on tremendously by Canelo hardcore fans.
I get hated on.
Right? And now we're being loved. Why? Because at one point we never accepted Canelo in the cloud he was being placed. We always wanted to put Canelo where he belonged. And now I put Canelo where they were trying to put him 6 years ago, because that's where Canelo is at. When I tell you, I'm not making Canelo an indestructible machine. I'm just simply saying right now, I'll repeat it again, right now, ain't nobody touching this man unless you bring some serious power behind you. You got to bring some man, can't nobody deny Canelo can take a punch, man. How many people would have gone to sleep with the shots GGG landed on this boy? Think about it. How many people GGG put to sleep with lesser shots than the ones he landed on Canelo? Plenty. Canelo took the shots like nothing. Absolutely nothing. Kovalev was landing stiff jabs on this boy. Didn't face them at all. You got to bring some serious power to have a fighter like that come to a stop and suppress him from the freedom that he feels inside that ring. And maybe then you can stop him from implementing whatever game plans he has. And then if you're making him think in there outside of his plan A, maybe you have an upper hand on him. Now maybe you can beat Canelo. But right now, man, you either bring serious power or you bring serious tenacity to withstand the body shots and the sneaky but super hard counter left hook that he lands from time to time. Shoe Shine Boxing, your co-host. I'm not sure we'll see the Benavidez Canelo in 2022. I don't think we're going to see that fight at all, quite frankly.
We're not going to see it. No,
I don't think we're going to see that fight at all, to be honest with you.
Like
how often you go live, Raw Boxing? My first time here. I have a very tough work schedule. Right now, I'm locally here, but from time to time, I'm out of state. So usually when I go live, I'll schedule it hours in advance. So the only thing I can do, and I'm not trying to trick you to subscribe to me, activate the notification bell. And that's the only way you're going to be able to see when I go live, because I think from now all the way till the middle of January, you're going to see me going live at least three times per week minimum. But after middle of January, I might go live once a week. So yeah, man. But if it's your first time, thank you for being here. Hope you enjoy. Hope you subscribe. Let's get going. Another comment from you. Y'all seem quite coherent and not over emotional. We try not to be, man. Especially when it comes to this. Just sub, fam. Thank you so much. We try not to be. Now sometimes my gasket blows up, but I try to keep it as balanced as possible. Facts. Canelo is a veteran in his prime. Yeah, again, I don't see Benavidez will not be able to take Canelo body shots. Garbage resume. Shoe Shine Boxing, salute, fam. Okay. Again, Shoe Shine. I see Benavidez moving on to 175 next year and getting some bigger fights. Okay, here you go. I don't see Benavidez beating Bivol. I don't think Benavidez has anything for Bivol right now. And Bivol is not even as good as he once was. In fact, I think that's Bivol, right? Beterbiev is the guy with the bigger.
Yeah.
I don't. In fact, Bivol's not going to stand there either. And when he stands there, he's not standing there without any activity. He stands and he trades. And in my opinion, Bivol has abandoned a lot of his leg movement. But Bivol can do a lot. Go ahead.
The main question about that: how is he going to get the big fights at light heavyweight? Well, a couple. One is at Matchroom. Batonov and Joe Smith are at Top Rank, and Zotto's at Golden Boy. There's a real big conflict that the PBC does not like doing business with these other promoters. So, are we going to see more lackluster opposition for Benavidez at light heavyweight? We can see Javion Love, Julian Love, move up to 175, have a rematch. I like the dude, but no disrespect to him, he didn't beat Benavidez in 168. He's not beating him 175. But I think Zotto is, in my opinion, Zotto is the best light heavyweight in the division. I think he beats Bivol and he beats Batonov.
You think Soto is? I haven't. I got to be honest. I'm not very big on the light heavy. I have not paid much attention to Soto. But maybe if you say so, hey, I'll take it. I'll take a look at him.
He doesn't. He's not that normal Mexican fighter. He's a boxer, but he has power.
Now I think, and then I'll let you go, Chad. I'm so sorry, man. I think Zurdo Ramirez is just now coming into 175. He was fed Sullivan Barrera well past his prime. He's fighting another Cuban now who's also well past his prime, who also has a style that's right into Sudo Ramirez's hands. But I want to see Sudo Ramirez in there with much tougher opposition, because I think that if you manage Sudo Ramirez correctly, excuse me, Sudo Ramirez can make out to be a very dominant, very dominant at that weight division. Now, again, I don't know much about Soto. I'll take a look into him. Excuse me while I take a drink.
He's close to being 50-0, Ranger. That's the goal for him. He wants to be 51-0.
Ooh, he want to break that record.
Yeah, he's like.
I just haven't paid attention to the to the 175 as much as I should have, man. To be honest with you. But to go back with the PBC deal, man, maybe fighters need to start reconsidering their contracts with PBC. Or maybe fighters that are under contract with PBC need to start demanding unanimously that if PBC does not have the stable that they want, that PBC needs to make business across the pond. Because fighters are the ones in control of their career. They cannot give full control of their careers to the promotions, to their networks. They cannot. Or they're not gonna have a legacy to fall back on.
I think they like that excuse, though. I think they like the excuse of like, oh, they're
a lot of them do,
and it protects them, and it gives them reason not to fight, man.
They use it a lot.
Yeah, and again, like even I'm looking at like the 175 division, the champions. You have Joe Smith Jr. You have Artur Beterbiev has 2 belts, IBF and WBC, and Dmitry Bivol has the WBA. Why haven't they unified that? Why isn't anybody unifying those belts already? You know, Artur Beterbiev has 2 belts, but what's taking so long with Bivol? I feel like he's still in those showcase type fights. You know, and I think they should honestly mix it up before, you know, Zurdo comes in to mess up that whole thing, because I think he's got some movement behind him and some power as well. So,
well, they both beat Joe Smith already. If you look at it, Bivol and Batonov both beat Joe Smith already. Yeah. So you already have that fight. You just got to hope they both fight each other. But you know, the pandemic and everything, you haven't seen Beterbiev actually be able to go out of Russia, because the last fight he fought was in Russia. And then you also the next step for him to do unification in the most sensible way, because he's signed with Top Rank also, is to unify with Joe Smith and have a rematch trail. Like Bivol, if you look at it like this, it's really hard to find him fights. He didn't really look that great in his last fight when he fought in the UK. Like the guy was really going forward and was nailing punches still, and Bivol just abandoning his footwork in that fight, but he got a clear decision off of it. But
right here, Drew. Take a pause. Look at this comment.
Mexican fighters need to leave the PSC. Absolutely right.
They don't even they have nothing to offer to a Mexican fighter. Nothing. All they wanted, the slick little tap, and that's it. Which, again, I'm a sucker for technicians, but I got to see actions from time to time.
I just don't get it that, you know, the PBC is the brand that cares about only making money and not making fighters' legacy. Because if you look, and here's another thing. I'm surprised that they Zone and ESPN put Tank in the top 10 pound for pound when he hasn't fought anybody.
And Drew, that's the reason I don't believe, I have never, since I started doing videos, people that have been following me for a while can tell you, I have never believed nor entertained the idea of pound for pound, because it's not based on merits. It's based on somebody else's opinion. And when I see people out here fighting each other, calling each other name for a mythical pound for pound, I'm like, what are y'all doing? It's not based on merits. That's it. I don't care about pound per pound number one. Yeah, sometimes I'm in some panels and I'm forced to kind of like talk about it, but I always make it clear. I don't believe in that garbage. I don't believe in pound per pound. It's garbage.
Like I agree with everybody. I agree that Mexican fighters should leave the PBC, because tell you the truth, when I see Mexican fighters fighting PBC, I don't see a lot of good fights with them in it.
Look,
PBC
this is also
for the most part uses Mexican fighters as for tank. Yeah, they
right
did.
here. Look at this.
Because they think that since the Mexican style is a style that goes forward, because you credit them as being a lot of warriors and everything. But the thing is, technicians can be warriors too.
Mm-hmm.
But PBC is not valuing the boxing like hardcores do, because if you look at Little Ellaby, when you say, "Oh, when are you gonna match it with tank up with that guy?" Oh, nobody knows who he is. That's how Charlo gets his excuses from Leonard Ellaby, the idiot's guide written by Leonard Ellaby.
In the case of the PBC and Floyd Mayweather Promotions and Leonard Ellerby, the one credit I'll give them is that they're honest. They've told the world to their face, we're not interested on legacy. We're interested on making money. And the fights that sell are fights against Mexicans, blacks versus Mexicans. They came out straight up and told you that. They didn't even say it subliminally. They went straight for it. And that's the reason they keeping this kind of roster. But in my opinion, the PBC and Floyd Mayweather Promotions, it's not a place for a Mexican fighter to be in. It just isn't. Dan R here says PBC robbed Mexican fighters like they did Brandon and Pitbull. Shout out to Raw Boxing TV. Shout out Huckle Mustang. Welcome, my brother. Welcome. PBC Johnny Blaze. PBC robbed Castaño from being undisputed.
Yeah, that's true.
And Santiago and Castaño. No hate.
Now, when he says Brandon up there, is that what? Brandon Rios? Brandon Figueroa?
No, Castaño, el argentino.
Okay.
He was robbed.
Yeah, of course he was. I had him beating Charlo.
But Fulton beat Brandon Figueroa. I had Fulton beating Figueroa. So, like,
yeah. I mean, like I said on my post fight thoughts of when it comes to the Figueroa did decent, but the problem is pressure itself will not win you fights.
He reached the ceiling.
Yeah. I always encourage people to look at the manual of judging boxing, and the judges will never count as effective pressure punches that land on the belt line, punches that land in the elbows, punches that land in the forearm, punches that land in the bicep. Because according to the rules of judging, all of those punches landing in anywhere in your body from your on your arms, from your shoulders to your biceps to your elbows to your gloves to your forearms, they are considered as punches being landed on the guard. They're considered as your opponent blocking your attacks. And although Brandon Figueroa was shooting to the body and landing, in the arms and putting pressure, a lot of it wasn't effective pressure. It was a phone booth fight, but the guy getting the cleaner shots out there was Fulton. And I mean, that's just being as balanced as possible when it comes to this fight. Thurman being fed Mario Barrios for the man. When I heard that today,
this is going wrong.
When I heard that today. When I heard this today, I'm like, what's going on with boxing, man? Here we come.
PBC doesn't have money.
Here we come out of a great couple weekends of boxing, and this fool's trying to give us this fights. I hope this is another cherry pick gone wrong, dude.
It is going to go wrong.
I really do.
He can't take body shots anymore. One time,
Thurman, don't duck me, son.
One time?
Don't duck me, son. Let's see. Miguel Vasquez was robbed against Mickey Bay. I didn't see that fight, so I will not comment on it. He landed more punches. Now, guys, I think we've covered enough. We got to jump to the lightweight divisions now, which is, in my opinion, the best division in boxing right now. Packed with the most amount of talent, but also packed with the most amount of drama. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me place the warning sign again so I can have a nice little water break. Ladies and gentlemen, the lightweight division, in my opinion, as I was saying, is by far the most talented weight division as we speak. But also, in my opinion, my very humble opinion, if you look to this top left corner of this picture, in the middle of those names right there, you find an extremely high level of drama. An extremely high level of he said, she said, I'm better, he's better. I make this amount of money. Well, no, you don't. No, I'm undisputed. No, you're not. No, this and that. This is the weight division of talented divas, in my humble opinion. I have to say it, or I'm gonna burst. Ryan Garcia, a fighter who you all know I have supported, but a fighter that, in my opinion, at this moment needs to shut his mouth up, come back to boxing, and fight at least the janitor of the MGM Grand Casino in Las Vegas. Somebody, fight somebody. Throw some gloves in your hands and fight somebody before you talk about you wanting Cambosos Jr.
Sorry.
He's still chewing on that Nate Campbell fight. It's such a long time ago.
Somebody before you talk about Tank Davis.
Oh, God.
Do something for your career.
Stay up to Floyd.
He's worse than Floyd.
Stand up to Floyd, Tank. Be a man. You know, Tank's
bro.
Best opponent.
I honestly think. Look, I honestly think. At first, I thought that this was issues with Oscar De La Hoya. You know, sometimes promoters, or my promoter knows how to build your career and destroy it too, man. That's their job. They know how to build you, but at the same time, they can use the same techniques they use to build you, flip it on the negative side, and destroy you. I thought at first that the downsides to Ryan's career was the promotional companies, but wait a minute. Maybe Ryan Garcia has a lot to do with the lack of growth in his boxing career. Maybe he's too comfortable cashing in his pretty face. Maybe he's too comfortable with the money he's making off of YouTube, which is, I believe, over 3.5 million a year off of YouTube alone. Not counting the clothing sales, sunglasses sell, all of the things. Look, I give you props. You're making money outside of boxing. But if you're going to be talking, you're going to have to be fighting. And if you're not fighting, you're going to have to not talk. And you're going to have to start talking when you start fighting. In the meantime, I don't need you to come back and fight a real dog. Just come back and fight something before you open your trap mouth. And I got to come down now, so I have to pass the word to some of y'all because this kid gets me heated.
Okay. I guess I'll go first. You know, first of all, he needs to fight somebody without trying to pull out because he's the king of pulling out. I gotta say it like that. He's a joke to me, Ryan Garcia. Tank, other than Cruz, his best opponent was the girl he got caught choking on video. Now, Teofimo, he beat Lomachenko. Close fight. But he got too humbled, disrespected anybody, and he paid for it. He let a 350-pound guy punch him in the chest, bare knuckled. So, you know, that's stupidity right there.
Yeah.
Devin Haney, he say, oh, they all did the he say, and everything. Oh, we went to top rank and talked about fighting Lomachenko on tomorrow night, you know, on this date where he's fighting Comey at and everything. when Lomachenko was like, he's like, I didn't know nothing about it. I could be wrong, they couldn't, but the only one that nobody really mentions is the guy that got beat by Lopez, the former king, Vasily Lomachenko, which I clearly think he destroys every one of them. I even think he knocks out Tito in a rematch. I think he stops Ryan Garcia. I think he knocks Haney out. I think he destroys Tank and knocks him out. And I really think he making a unanimous decision against Kambosos because Kambosos has that chin. So my two favorite fighters in this division is Kambosos and Lomachenko because, one, they're not putting the drama into it like these little young boys, divas and everything, thinking that they're worth the world and everything, that they're owed the world, they're entitled when they haven't done nothing. But when you want to use social media to call somebody out, and when that person responds to you and you don't reply back, Haney should shut his mouth. Ryan should shut his mouth too, because you haven't fought in a year, and the best fighter you fought was Luke Campbell, a C-level fighter, and he knocked you down straight away because
I'm sorry, I just had to. I just had to.
What was that about? Was it Luke Campbell?
No, because of the Luke Campbell thing.
Like he had Ryan Garcia is exposed for that fight. He has the Amir Khan weakness that he puts his chin out there and somebody's gonna knock him out with raw power or with a technician that can really hurt him. And I really think this is, and then he says, oh, we made a Tank. Tank said we made a Tank. We try to make a fight with him, but he decides to take an exhibition with Manny Pacquiao that fell through. Like, dude, you shouldn't do exhibitions. You're an active fighter. You're in your early 20s. Why are you doing trying to do an exhibition?
Yeah, exhibition.
To be an undisputed champion. I'm getting heated now. Chad, you can take over because I'm getting heated too, and I'm about to go off on these kids. Like, I'm surprised Rangel's still up because he's going on 3 hours already on this show.
Yeah.
No. Hey, we got a lot to talk about, man. That's why, and I got a great panel here today, man.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that, yeah, Ryan Garcia, he shouldn't even be on that picture. I'm not going to lie to you. He has done nothing in the sport, really for the sport. And until he actually fights somebody of worth outside, I mean, Luke Campbell, I thought that was going to be a good step up for him to fight one of these other guys, man, at the top. But nah, he's a lot of talk. I think Tio, he's obviously leaving the division. So we got Tio's leaving. They're going to push him to 140, try to rebuild, try to get him that Josh Taylor fight. Haney needs to fight Kambosos, like that's the next fight. Lomachenko, he's got to rebuild, unfortunately. So it's going to be tougher for Lomachenko to get a fight with these young guys now, the guys with the belts, and it's just tough because they were barking Lomachenko's name for the longest and saying that they would be Lomachenko, but they never signed the paper. They never signed the contract. So again, you're back to a lot of just talk in the division, and I hope that with Haney, I think he's gonna get the belts from Kambosos. I think he beats Kambosos, but we'll see.
Yeah, but hold on. Before I let you go, Drew, I don't think Haney and Kambosos is gonna happen.
You don't think so?
And here's why. Look at read this comment here. I was gonna go into this, but he beat me to it. Read that comment there. You know what that comment translates to? Money, popularity. And when Kambosos is looking at Ryan Garcia, he's looking at an easy kid to beat. And Ryan Garcia is looking at Kambosos as all the titles at once. In my opinion, I'm hope you have no idea how much I hope that I'm wrong. That's the fight that's going to happen. In fact, those billionaires out of Australia that's willing to put I don't know how many millions for this fight to happen, I can almost guarantee you that they will feel more comfortable investing that money on the return they're going to have against the Ryan Garcia. Go, Drew.
I disagree with both of you.
Okay.
Because tomorrow night, the rebuild is finished for Lomachenko. Now, you want to know what fight happens next? You want to know who Kambosos fights next? Vasylia Lomachenko. You want to know why he fights?
Could be. Yeah, could be.
Because Lomachenko will be named the WBO mandatory challenger.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, that's right.
Number one in the WBO and the number one in the WBC. So he has options. We could see a Haney versus Lomachenko, or we could see a Kambosos versus Lomachenko. So that Ryan Garcia, Ryan, whatever you want to call him. The king
I honestly forgot about that aspect. But you know, if that wasn't the case, I think the Haney fight wasn't a priority. I think Kambosos would have looked at making the money and an easy, undisputed defense versus Ryan Garcia, and then maybe a Devin Haney, in my opinion. Let me get caught up with some comments here before we keep going here, guys. Golden Boy says Tank is a hype job. That is correct, but Tank is also a good fighter. The problem is the Tank has not been allowed to evolve as a great fighter.
He's almost 30.
That's just a fact. The kid has a lot of skills. He has bricks in his hands, but he's got a promoter in front of him that keeps him on a tight leash, talks for him, acts for him, answers questions for him. It's just
you know
crazy.
What's crazy, Ranger, about that?
Haney does not beat Kambosos. Wow, interested input on that raw boxing. Kambosos versus Ryan. Yeah, counting out what Drew just said. Just counting that out. Let's see here. And you know what, Drew? Kambosos already made history. He might just say, the hell with the WBO. I'm fighting Ryan for the amounts of money I'm going to make. He could say that.
He could do that too.
Because he's already in the history book as undisputed. Ain't nobody changing that. Lomachenko is bigger than that. Win or lose, he's the man to beat to get respect. I agree with that.
And Kambosos has the WC franchise, right? So he doesn't have to fight mandatory.
That's another one too. Unfortunately, we still got that French fries bell. Who,
the problem with that. Here's the problem. In order to be called undisputed, all 4 sanctioning bodies have to credit you as undisputed. Only one is crediting Kambosos as undisputed. That's WBC. So technically, he's not an undisputed champion. So
well, then we go back to the same thing with Tio, right?
It's I never believed he was either.
Well, and that's fine, but you know what? Unfortunately, that's the man. That's the man. I mean, I just it's a confusion that they created.
WBC created that.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole once again, but yeah, I understand. I get it. Garcia unfortunately knows, based on his friendship with Jake Paul, that whatever he does, he can sell numbers and seats. So he's full of himself, and that is a truth. That is a truth. That is very true. No one beats Loma 135. No.
I don't know about that, man. What
I
happened with the Tio fight? Like that's what I'm saying. Like Lomachenko should have theoretically walked over Tio, but it didn't happen. He didn't start picking it up until the later rounds. Go ahead.
I'm gonna put a prediction. It's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. Lomachenko will be the undisputed lightweight champion in 2022.
Could happen, of course. Why not? He's got the skills. But to say nobody beats him at that weight division, it's a stretch, in my opinion. It's a stretch. Ryan does not
the age for me too.
Inherit Kambosos. He's not a mandatory to no one or even close yet. The Goat Mario. Haney whoops Lomachenko. 12 rounds, unanimous decision. Let's see.
That's just a Loma.
Take the training wheels of Tank. Of the training wheel. They gotta buy him. They gotta They got to take the training wheels and give him a new set of a brand new bicycle, a bigger bicycle. It's time to let this kid develop. But you know what? I think they're comfortable with the money they're making, with the easy road. I think they're comfortable.
And I made $1 million for that last fight.
Yeah, but think about it for a second, bro. Just think about it for a second. He only made $1 million. What a problem to have, right? What a problem to have. I mean, come on. Lomachenko isn't invincible, but he will put you up. Correct. Loma said today he would like to fight Lopez again. He would, but you know what, Haka Mustang? I don't want to see Lopez in the ring for a good year. No. Again, it's irrelevant to what happened. Put it this way. I'll this much I can say. The majority of the big channels out there making fun of Lopez right now because he lost are not being fully honest. Because they knew before the fight what was going on. They got a text before the fight, and they all knew that Lopez should have not gotten in the ring that night. With that being said, Lopez did, and Lopez threw a punch, so therefore Kambosos has all the right to whip that boy. And I'll leave it at that. And as soon as I get permission to share the rest of the story, I will. But right now, it's all about timing. I share that now, and people are going to look at it as excuse, and it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. So, I don't know. Facts. You know, they got Tank on nice. Oh, for sure, man. Easy Street Davis. Let's see. Salido beats Loma and faced the same type of Mexican will be Haney. People ain't in denial of Haney. Haney got the skills to pay the bills. Loma said today he would like to fight Lopez again at 135, but not at 140. And goodbye the fight. Goodbye, because I doubt Lopez will come back to 135, and I seriously doubt we'll ever see Lomachenko at 140. Seriously.
If we see Pacquiao at 140, there's a little slim shot.
But the genetic build of both fighters are too different. Yeah. Pacquiao went to 140, 147, 154 catch weight, came back down. Yeah, but that was Pacquiao. Lomachenko will never do that, ever.
But
ever.
I'll be honest, Devin Haney is real beatable, and he is clearly beatable. And if a good fighter, if a real guy with power that's a real good boxer a little bit gets into him, he'll destroy Devin Haney easily.
No. All you got to do is give Jojo Diaz a little more stamina to withstand, to be able to carry the body work for full rounds. Because remember, Devin Haney don't believe me. Just say I'm a hater. Don't believe me. Go back and listen to the corner talk between Haney and his father. How Haney's constantly asking him, what do I do about the body work? Okay, so what should I need to do? What do I do? Because I keep running into his left hand. But what happened is Jojo Diaz will reach a stamina limit, and then he will take a step back and allow Devin Haney to take over. Fatal mistake. Joseph Luna here seems to think that Pitbull will beat Haney. Be a nice fight. Why not?
Be an exciting fight. It'd be like Maidana, maybe Amir Khan.
Yeah. Pitbull stocks just went up, homie. Pitbull stock just went up. I'm surprised. I couldn't. Pitbull stock just went up. Let's just leave it at that. You know? I honestly believe that we're going to see some good things. Some very good things coming out of Pitbull. And to close the night, because part of the title here is other boxing topics, and unfortunately, only because my man Chat is here, I'm gonna consider this next topic as part of boxing. But Tyron Woodley and Jake Paul for the second.
Hey,
Thoughts on that? I'll let you go, Chad, because that's not my lane, but that's your lane, brother.
I think Jake Paul beats him. I think Jake Paul beats him. It's a late replacement. They always say that somebody's in the gym or whatever, but it's two different things, man. When you're in the gym and when you're actually preparing for a fight, boxers stay in the gym most of the time if they're looking to grab a fight last minute or things like that. But when you're preparing for a dude, especially when you kind of were gun shy at some points, didn't have a real jab, like those are things you need to work on. Like that takes time to build. So I think I have Jake Paul winning. If Tyron somehow catches him, that'd be a miracle in itself, but it could happen. He's got power, but he's also got age, and so he be looking for him to get another tattoo that says "I love Jake Paul" or "Thank you, Jake Paul," something like that. I don't know, but yeah, I'm excited for it, man.
You're excited for it. Well, if it excites you, man, hey, like I said, that's why I wanted you to go first because that's your lane.
It brings the entertainment factor that we need in boxing. I'm just saying, we need more entertainment. We do. Think about it. We're trying to, we need to be able to just like. So I'm in like the church world. So we talk about like the world changing, right? We gotta be able to cater to some of the, things that people are accustomed to in the world, but have given them greater purpose, if that makes sense. Pointing them towards Jesus, not to get into religious talk. And
I get it. I get it.
But yeah, like it's the same thing. In order to continue to keep these new generations coming through, you got to have something new. You got to be able to cater to some of the crowd. We're in a world of TikTok and Instagram. Like you got to be able to kind of keep up with the times, man. And I think those are great things to have some YouTubers under a Tank Davis card. Hate me or love me. This is just my thought, right?
No, I get
to continue to, instead of those being the marquee fights, those being the undercard fights, have it set up backwards.
But they're not. And in the case of considering Jake Paul a serious boxer, I got to do this.
Not a serious boxer. He is not.
Ranger,
it's all show.
I gotta do it. I just gotta do it.
Do it, brother. yeah, man. Look, I get what you're saying, chat. I get what you're saying. Entertainment. He's got over 10 million followers.
He's a douchebag.
Money from the money aspect, from the trash talking, all of that good stuff.
All I'm saying is, where are the tank numbers right now? They're tanking probably right now.
But
and look at these YouTubers. They're getting the money.
No, I get it. I get it. But I much rather see this fights, like you said, because that's where I took the issues. This fighters, I wouldn't be surprised if next year Jake Paul says, you know what, I want to go for a world title. And they'll give it to him just because they're sales.
I hope not.
I hope not. Strap the seatbelt and get ready for the ride. How much are we willing to compromise out of the reputation of the sport?
I know Mauricio will compromise it because they've tailored
Mauricio will make a belt specifically for that.
Witchelt belt. Yeah, you can keep that stuff. No, I mean, we've seen it with Canelo. Like Canelo snubbed the WBC, said, I didn't want that belt. And all of a sudden, what is the WBC doing? They are all over Canelo. I'm telling you, they conspired to create this Bridgerweight because of Canelo. I mark my words. They created it so he could become a six-weight division champion. I'm telling you.
Could be.
They will do anything for money.
Look at this. I can guarantee you that in fact, let me go on a limb, and I know this is the comment that's gonna put me right back into the Canelo hating pedestal that they used to have me in 6 years ago. This fight is going to happen. I could see this fight happening. Jake Paul versus Canelo Alvarez.
And I'll laugh my ass off.
And if that fight happens, ladies and gentlemen, if that fight happens, you're going to have this right here. You're going to have that. Because I'm coming out with razor blades and lemon juice.
Because he's picking those cherries like it's never been picked before.
Now, if Canelo retires and then makes this fight happen, I'll be cool with it. Then to me, it's more of like an exhibition match. But as long as Canelo is an active fighter, if that fight happens while Canelo is an active fighter, my guy, I will proudly wear the jacket of biggest Canelo hater of the year.
You got an extra one?
I'll let you borrow mine.
All right, cool.
I'll let you borrow mine.
I get called one all the time anyway, so I don't even care.
Yeah.
They said that's child abuse. You were wild for that golden boy.
I'm telling you, man, it's chat. I get what you're saying, but my question is, how far is it going to go? Because as of now, I see nobody restraining it to leave it where it belongs. I just see it as because they sell, let's do this. Because
I mean, look at Showtime. Showtime's in there. The Weasel Espinosa, like he's in there. I'm telling you, they understand boxing needs this. I don't necessarily agree that boxing needs it, but they understand that there is a market for it. There's a market for it, and people want to see these types of fights, bringing back legends, making them fight, creating a triangular ring. Like, seriously, you just saw Frank Mir get knocked out by Pulev. Who didn't see that coming? You know? So I'm telling you, it is a different type of atmosphere when it comes to the consumer. The consumer wants to see entertainment intertwined with sport. It is, especially when it comes to combat sports. It sucks. It sucks because I am a guy who enjoys my boxing the way it is. But I also understand that the way boxers and promoters have carried the sport for the past 10 to 12 years, you know, going back all the way to the HBO times, these showcase fights, they have slowly turned off so many fighters. There is no reason why we shouldn't have a unified champion every 3 years. There or seeing them go at it like the best fighting the best. No more of this promotional stuff. Like nobody cares. You're not going to see that with these YouTube fighters because they're not going to be signed to promotional companies. They're bigger than that. They can promote their own fights. There are no needs for that.
Yeah, I don't disagree on that. My question is, how much out of real boxing are we willing to sell? That is the only question I have. I'm not denying.
I don't want to sell any of it. But the thing is, the powers that be that are in boxing are allowing it. They have clearly said they don't care about the boxing fan when it comes to oversaturating the market with pay-per-views.
I disagree. I don't think the powers that be allows it. We allow it. Because if everybody took a firm stance on not buying these pay-per-views, you think they're going to invest in another one?
Probably not.
It's we the people, not only in government, in sports.
Right.
We the people.
Like
we the people. That's it. It's not them. They are accomplices.
Yeah.
We are the ones that decide to pay for it. And if we don't pay for it as a unanimous group, then their financial losses are so big that they will think it not once or twice. They will think it 10, 15, 20 times before taking the risk again. Let me get caught up with the comments real quick. Sacramento Rogers, did you guys hear what Dan Raphael said about Canelo on Twitter? On his Twitter? No, I didn't. But if you want to post it or come into the live stream, you're more than welcome. I want to see Tank and Floyd cry. Golden not happening. Yono here. If that was the case, Canelo would have took Usman, Masvidal. and Conor fight by now. I think that makes a lot of sense, but I'm scared of what I'm seeing in boxing. Yono, I'm super scared of what I'm seeing in the sport in the name of selling tickets. Like, I'm really scared of what we might get in the next 2-3 years.
I don't know if it's necessarily boxing fans who are buying this. I think it's just the casual.
Now, this comment right here, man, I'm going to be honest with you. You're going to bring race up in when it comes to making a point and everything.
Let's see. I get a lot of hate. I think the reason why is because a lot of people don't want to see another dominant, slick black champion, in my opinion.
I'm sorry, but comments like this when I bring race into it and everything, man. If you want to use race into your point and everything, you're just making it less known that you know crap about boxing, and because it's a weakness. If you're gonna make a point, don't put race into it, because tell you the truth, you're just really setting yourself up.
We also just argued that Mayweather has a better resume than Canelo right now. You know, like I enjoyed Mayweather, like I really did. It's just
Bernard Hopkins.
Bernard Hopkins, yeah, it's one of my favorite. The Alien, when he came out with the Alien stint, bro, I died laughing because Bernard is a character. That's one of the fighters that brought a lot of entertainment with boxing. He said crazy things, even going back to when he fought Tito Trinidad. Like, he was outlandish, but it sold tickets, and it was amazing. I think so too.
Yeah.
But I think there should be a balance of that. I don't think we shouldn't have press conferences like with what Bud did, like and Sean Porter. Like, there was nothing to get you excited about the fight.
No, on that I agree. On that part, I agree, and that's why I mentioned them earlier. Go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, I think that people are looking for a little bit more. I'm looking for a little bit more from my sport. You know, I think if we're not going to get the marquee fights that we want to see, and there are people still buying these one-sided fights, that's what sucks about the sport, is that we can't get a undisputed champion or even a unified champion at a 160. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just it's, if we can't get that, there should be at least some entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Like, it sucks that I need to settle in my mind, but man, these promoters have just killed the way the sport has run in the past, and it's tough to see these great fights happen without paying this huge price tag on pay-per-view, or just them being aged out and the fight's not as interesting anymore. Look at Manny and Floyd. Like, that should have happened back in 2009.
Correct. Now look at this comment here from NL, which, by the way, welcome to the live stream. Canelo versus Jake Paul for charity. Why not? I would if it was for charity, and Canelo is will. If it's for charity, I wouldn't mind it. In fact, I was making the argument at work today with one of my coworkers that I think listened to Ness. Ness was saying, what does Floyd have to? What does Canelo have to prove by giving another fight to if Floyd decides to fight him or whatever? Or what does Floyd have to prove or whatever? I was like, well, if Floyd keeps talking about the man and Canelo wants to get at it, I think it would be nice for them to get in there, do it for charity, but go at it for real. You know, and don't have it count for your professional records, but do it for real. If it's charity, something that's not counting towards a record, that's fine, because that's not even boxing. That's a charity event, right?
Ranger, I'm gonna dip out. Thanks.
All right, brother, you do your thing, man.
Thanks for having me, Ranger.
Thank you for being here today.
I had no problem, and then I figure I'd come in since I have the day off and everything. Thanks to the panel and everything. Thanks for the chat. I was able to get points across, you know. And
anytime, man, anytime.
We all had a simple debate. No one got heated with the other, which is, debates should be like that.
Correct.
And people shouldn't feel salty if a point that they didn't like was made. So at the end of the day, thank you for having me. Everybody, chat, have a good night.
Peace, man.
You too, man. You too. Great talking to you.
WBC is gone. It's one thing. Canelo is another thing. I kind of get what he's saying here. Yeah, but it's too late. Let me get caught up. Chat before we get going. I gotta get caught up. Fight Circus is the strangest promotional company to emerge, and yeah. Point to the triangle. Bro, I don't want to see no damn triangle. I don't want to see none of those things.
God dang freaking triangle, bro.
Yeah,
That was the dumbest thing I've seen.
Yeah. I don't want to see. I don't want to see that. Just like when they had that BKB, remember that circle thing,
the round. Yep.
What kind of stupidity is that, man? I tell you what, man. If we just, instead of trying to create other fighting sports, if we just focus on what we got and making it better and allowing fighters to take control, and we the fans stop paying for nonsense, I think we can put boxing up there. Because I mean, boxing is good, but it's not as. Come on, let's stop it. I don't want to see MMA fighters versus boxers in the boxing ring, or vice versa. I don't want to see a YouTuber, and I don't want to see none of that. Give me elite fighters. Give me real fighters versus real fighters. That's what I want to see. That's it.
That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see.
HLD from Puerto Rico in the building. He says, then why aren't Haney fans supporting him? Haney's last fight was filled by JoJo supporters. Heck, Tio versus Cambosos outsold in the Hulu Theater. Race ain't got nothing to do with the business. I have to agree. Mainly because fighters like Floyd, hated fighters like Floyd, were PPV kings. And when you looked at fighters like Floyd, they had blacks, Latinos, and whites. But I get it. I don't want to go down this path. We've had 3.5 hours of an excellent, in my opinion, one of my best, most calm, most information-filled live streams. And so I get what HLD is saying. I get it. I truly do. By the way, HLD, you're being lazy today. You're being extremely lazy. Los pasteles te tienen sentado, brother. Tony Boswell in the building. What's going on, my brother? God bless you. Thank you for being here. Always appreciate your support, man. Always appreciate. Much respect, Roboxing to be in the chat. Stop by and show the support and hit the like button. 100. Just got off work. Salute. Go home, shower, eat, and go to bed, brother. Go to bed. Unless you're driving and listening, then enjoy what little you can listen out of the show. We don't have much to go anyway. But let's see. Golden Boy, facts. I got goosebumps when the crowd booed 30 seconds into the fight in the JoJo versus Haney fight. You know, guys, in my opinion, that's not nobody else's fault but the Haneys. The level of opposition they've been fighting, the way they've been talking like they're Mr. Unstoppables, kryptonites, like everybody's ducking them, all of the little dark tricks that they've implemented. I think that not needing that, because again, I repeat, Haney's a very good fighter, still has a lot of holes in his games, lots of room to improve, enough time to improve, still young enough to improve. But I believe that not all of their moves have been the right move, in my opinion. So to close the show, Lomachenko versus Richard Comey. What are we doing? Did I saw Richard Comey today? I bet too respectful, too playful, or is that just Richard Comey?
I think that's Richard Comey, honestly, and I think Lomachenko's on the back end of his career. You know, he's gonna play the nice guy. You know, he has been for a while. So I think Comey loses that fight pretty easily. I almost would say that Lomachenko stops him like in the 8th round, man, to the body. Honestly, I don't know. I don't see it with Comey.
Yeah, I mean, Comey's coming out of a nice knockout victory over Mariñez, right? But it was Mariñez. I don't want to take credit away from Comey, because Comey's a heck of a fighter. But Lomachenko's at another level. Now, again, I say that while being very well aware, what a wonderful English, while being well aware that boxing is a Pandora's box. And the very thing you expect may not happen. In fact, quite the contrary. All it takes is the punch you never see coming to end your night. Period. With this being said, the most realistic pick I can have is Lomachenko by stoppage. I don't even think it'll reach the 8th round. I think by the 5th round, this fight should be done.
I can see that too.
Lomachenko is going to go in there and make real quick work, especially to the body, which is an area that that Comey has not been explored to as much. We haven't seen much of that from Comey, so we'll see. That's Richard Comey. He's just a very, very nice guy. Okay, great. Great. Awesome. Thank you, HLD. Let's see. Huckle Mustang. I want to see boxing in a trigon with MMA gloves. Look.
Good Lord. He's just trolling right now.
I think he's just trolling. He knows it's bothering me. And this is one of my... Oh, man. I'm telling you. Jake. Hey, Jake. Let's see here. I agree. Loma is going to do well with Comey. Loma is going to show his class. I agree. Are you seeing Loma? I was wondering against two versus Walters too. Again with Comey. I don't know. How come I'm saying you take away the sweets? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am truly sorry that I have to leave the show. I know there's a lot of you watching. A lot for me anyway. But as you can see, we've been here for 3.5 hours. We've had a very good live stream today. I got a dentist appointment tomorrow in the morning, and I don't think I'm going to want to come back from that with my mouth full of anesthesia and do another live stream. And I don't want to do a live stream tomorrow afternoon because I know Saturday night I'm going to cover the fights. And I'm probably going to be on for about 5 or 6 hours. So we'll probably see each other Saturday night for the coverage of the fights. In the meantime, if you have not hit the thumbs up, shame on you. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up. If you've enjoyed the show, you're not subscribed to me just yet, consider it. It's free. I've never charged no one to subscribe to my channel. If you do subscribe, make sure to activate the notification bell. I want to thank everyone that contributed today. I want to thank Boxing Logics for his contribution today. Chat Perez, as always. Drew Evo. Everybody in the chat that's been active in the comment section. Extremely grateful for your contribution today. But again, I think we're going to go ahead and call it quits for today, man. What's good, D-Style? Everybody go check my brother out. Yeah, man, it's been 3.5 good hours of live streaming, man. We've had extremely good time, in my opinion. But every good thing must come to an end. In the meantime, God bless everybody. Raw Boxing TV. We are out.